Welcome back to another UCL Fantasy deadline stream. It's great to see so many of you here already. And we're actually only a couple of subscribers away from 23,000. I believe we're around 5 away, if not around 10. But let's get to that milestone, well, within the hour, definitely. And by the end of the stream, we will achieve it. But I thank everyone who has subscribed already and those that have liked the video and all the live streams. It's massively appreciated. And those that follow on Twitter and Instagram, join the Discord server, the UCL Fantasy League, join on Patreon, the channel members, all of you are massively appreciated. The super chats as well are another one. So we're going to get straight into this and talk about what I'm looking to do with my free transfers, but also discuss some different scenarios. Some of you might be looking to use the Limitless or the Wildcard. All of that is covered. And by the way, if you want some in-depth analysis, all of my videos provide that. I have best Limitless and Wildcard team videos already out on the channel. The same goes for the team selection. And of course, right here in the deadline stream, I try to do a bit of everything and cover all the latest injury updates, suspensions, and everything you need to know for Matchday 10. So let's get straight into the first comment, which is by Ray. I have quit UCL Fantasy to become a pundit and help others achieve their goals. I'll still be there for the FPL deadlines. Not gonna lie, not the best way I wanted to start that, but fair enough. Everyone's got their own thing there. I would reconsider that because UCL Fantasy is still fun, even if you aren't doing too well in the game. Cylinder says, hey Dylan, which option is better? A, Havertz, Bellingham, Sommer, to Fulkrug, Haller, Witsel, Sabitzer, Kobel. B, is that Odegaard, Sommer, Bellingham, to Yamal, Gundogan, Kobel, and Rodri / Sabitzer, Witsel. I think my favourite option would be option A. Yeah, I'm going to go with option A there. Now, with Sebastian Haller, I believe he's injured. He's not going to play. Fulkrug should start there for Borussia Dortmund regardless. I'm not a big fan of him. But even with Yamal, for example, very promising young talent, but his Champions League record this season in terms of goals and assists isn't impressive. I'd go for option A. And you've also put option C, okay, just to make things even more complicated. And option D. Yeah, I think I'd probably just stick with option A. I don't mind the option C, of course. They're all good options, but I think I'd go for option A. Captain Mbappe or Lewandowski? Generally speaking, I'd captain Mbappe, but I have a good feeling about Lewandowski. I'd captain him this week and for the Tuesday, of course. Welcome, Elliot. Good to see you. Wasif asks, what are your thoughts on the team? Mbappe captain, Havertz, Haaland, Bernardo, Emery, Rodri, Bellingham, Saka, Molina, Cancelo, Hummels, Schlotterbeck, Kim Min-jae, Lunin, Kobel. Yeah, Kim Min-jae's a sell. He's not going to play. He's now a third or fourth choice centre-back for Bayern Munich, so he's the one you definitely want to sell. The rest is fine. Just trying to think of things you are missing. Yeah, no Phil Foden I think is massive. I'm convinced he's going to play tomorrow. I'd 100% get him in, whether it's for Bernardo Silva. It's up to you what you do, but I would try to find a way to get Foden. And as good as Havertz has been in this calendar year, I think there are better strikers. So Rafinha, Rodrigo, not to mention the premiums such as Harry Kane. Yeah, I think Kane and Foden are the big absentees from your team, and Kim Min-jae's a sell. The rest is looking pretty decent. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And yeah, I think I've seen you in a few of these live streams and videos, so thank you very much. Best Limitless team? I have made a video about that, so be sure to check it out. But just to kind of summarize, I'd probably go for Neuer and Kobel. So you want to go for a goalkeeper playing on the Tuesday and the Wednesday, so you can make the substitution if needed. For the defenders, I'd go for Cancelo, Hummels, Molina, Gvardiol, and Saliba, but you could maybe make one or two changes. I made that team before the weekend's results, and I would be less keen on Saliba and Arsenal players in general. So if you were to double up on any team, I think Borussia Dortmund or Atletico Madrid defensively is the way to go. So you could go for Schlotterbeck, Maatsen, Arias, in for Saliba, or even Gvardiol. Midfielders, I'd still stick with the same five. Bellingham, De Bruyne, Sane, Foden, and Saka. Of course, there's always a few others that pique your interest. I think Yamal would be one of them. I think he could have a great game. The same goes for Musiala. As for the free forwards, I'd stick with Harry Kane, Vinicius, probably Haaland, but if you want a better captaincy option for the Tuesday, I'd heavily consider Lewandowski, Rafinha, or Mbappe for one of those forward slots, Courage. So yeah, that would be the foundation. Thank you, Miguel. Match score predictions. Yeah, I can show you straight away, really. I play the Predictor League as well, the Predictor game, so be sure to check that out. It's pretty fun. So this is what I've gone for. And by the way, let me know if there's any like kind of cutting during the transitions. It wouldn't be the internet, it would be a different issue, but I just want to know, and I'll probably watch it back afterwards anyway. Be sure to smash the like button, get this stream to over 100 likes nice and early, and then after that we can push on towards 200 likes and beyond as we reach 23,000 subscribers during the stream. But as you can see, I've gone for 1-1 Dortmund and Atletico Madrid, 2-1 Barcelona, 2-1 Bayern Munich with Harry Kane to be player of the match, and also the captaincy, the booster. It used to be called the Joker in this game. And I've gone for 3-2 Man City. I'm a bit unsure about some of these picks, but last week, for example, I predicted Arsenal to win against Bayern, but I put Odegaard man of the match, so I got that right. I also got the Atletico Madrid game spot on. I put 2-1, and I also put Griezmann as player of the match, and I luckily did put the booster on that result. Man City, Real Madrid, I've gone for Bernardo Silva player of the match, and Man City to be the first team to score. So this isn't set in stone. Hopefully I actually remember to make changes if needed. Once I see the lineups, you know, the Dortmund, Atletico Madrid results and all of this could be changed. But yeah, none of this is locked in basically, but it's my current predictions. I'm even tempted to go for 3-1 Bayern. Arsenal have a chance still. I think they are the better team, but the way they've been in the last week, it does cause a lot of cause for concern. And the warning signs were there from the Bayern Munich game in the first leg. But I'll go through some different screens now, show the different updates we've seen over the last day or so before I get back to your questions and comments. So keep plugging away all the likes. By the way, I want to shout out FPL Pele on Twitter. Very good UCL Fantasy account, and he does these rankings for each position. And for the forwards, you can see Kane, Mbappe, Haaland is the top three, with Vinicius fourth and Griezmann fifth. You've got the Barcelona duo of Lewandowski and Rafinha in sixth and seventh. I agree, those are the 7 best forwards in the game. And of course, it varies week on week depending on if they're home or away in terms of who's the best option. But yeah, you can't really argue with that top 4. In terms of midfielders, you've got Foden right at the top, De Bruyne second, Bellingham third, Rodri fourth, Saka fifth. Then you've got Musiala, Kimmich, Pavlovic, Vitinha and Odegaard in the top 10. For defenders, we've got Hummels, Gvardiol, Cancelo, Kubarsi, Hakimi, Koundé, Kim Min-jae, but we really should ignore him at this stage, Maatsen, Ryerson and Guerrero as the top 10, and Guerrero is in some predicted lineups, but Thomas Tuchel spoke in his press conference today, I believe, and he was indicating that it could be Mazzari playing as the left back and an unchanged midfield from the first leg at the Emirates with Lima and Goretzka. And finally, the goalkeepers, which we can't forget, Lunin is top with ter Stegen, Raya, Kobel and Donnarumma in the top 5. There are different kind of metrics and ways that this algorithm is built, but it's a really good source. I think for UCL Fantasy, probably the best on Twitter. Be sure to follow FPL Pele. Next up is going to be the teams most likely to keep a clean sheet in Matchday 10. Man City are top with 35%, Dortmund second. I'd personally put Dortmund first for Matchday 10. Bayern Munich are third with 26%. Then you've got Barcelona, Arsenal, Atletico Madrid, PSG, and in last place, Real Madrid. Never discount them, but yeah, I don't see them keeping a clean sheet in Matchday 10, to be honest. But I think the moral of the story is don't expect clean sheets in UCL Fantasy at this stage of the competition. Then we've got most likely Matchday 10 goal scorers, if I can get that up again. So Mbappe is second, just behind Erling Haaland, who is top with 52% of the vote, or not even the vote, of the percentage of likelihood of scoring. Kane is third. I'd probably put him first, actually. If I'm being honest, I'd put Kane first. Lewandowski and Morata complete the top 5. You've got Griezmann, Füllkrug, Foden, Rafinha, Alvarez and Joao Felix all in the top 10. This might be interesting. Chance of winning the Champions League. Arsenal are somehow still second, despite never winning it before, and also having a very poor result, I think, at the Emirates against Bayern Munich. But look, they are one of the best teams in the world. If they can perform to the usual level, they've got a chance. But Man City are rightfully so the favourites. I think Real Madrid are a bit disrespected, though. They should have a higher percentage, but I'm guessing the away fixture against Man City being 3-3 in the tie, that's probably why they're so low down. You've got Barcelona, they're actually creeping up the list to third place. They're very likely to reach the Champions League final, but football is full of surprises. If we then go to some pieces of news, Zaire Emery is expected to start against Barcelona, and we'll see the lineup very soon. I'll cover that in this deadline stream. There is some hesitation between Fabian Ruiz and Ugarte for the other midfield position. Bradley Barcola's return was appreciated in the first leg, but Gonzalo Ramos' presence cannot be ruled out. That is the rest of the tweet. Then we go to the possible lineups for PSG and Barcelona. So Barcelona have ter Stegen, Koundé, Araujo, Kubarsi, Cancelo, Gundogan, De Jong, Pedri, Yamal, Lewandowski and Rafinha. PSG have Donnarumma, Nuno Mendes, Lucas Hernandez, Marquinhos, Hakimi, who is now back from suspension, Zaire Emery, Vitinha, Fabian Ruiz, Dembele, Mbappe, and Barcola. Then we've got a few other pieces of news, and this time about Man City. Walker will be in the squad. He still has a small issue, a feeling, but he has trained well and should be available. Training later to determine if he will start. Nathan Ake is fine, so it could be a full house for Man City. No suspensions and no injuries whatsoever. And this could be the likely Real Madrid lineup. So Lunin in goal, Mendy, Rudiger, Nacho Fernandez and Carvajal as the back four, with Eder Militao just missing out on the bench. Then we've got Camavinga, Cruz, Valverde, Bellingham, Vinicius Jr. and Rodrigo. Tchouameni is suspended for the second leg. Then we go to the probable Bayern Munich lineup. But as I mentioned earlier, Thomas Tuchel did indicate that it could be Mazraoui playing as the left back, and also no Pavlovic. He will be on the bench, and instead it will be Lima. So let's see how that develops. But Neuer, Guerrero, Dyer, De Ligt, Kimmich, Goretzka, Pavlovic, Musiala, Müller, Sane and Kane is what Sky Sports in Germany are predicting for the Bavarians. And finally, Martin Odegaard is in Arsenal training. He did come off with an injury in that 2-0 loss against Aston Villa, and he was one of the only good players, in my opinion, from that day. He played very well, should have got a few assists in that match, but he is back in training, and Arsenal are another team with no suspensions, and it should be a full house. Even Jurrien Timber is continuing his training. So that's about it in terms of news, and later on I'll show you the predicted lineup, so be sure to stay tuned and you will basically have everything you need to know for UCL Fantasy. Let me now go back to my team without making any transfers. I'll show you my updated transfer plans very soon, and keep on plugging away with the likes. And like I said, we are just a few away from 23,000 subscribers. Weiseng says, any ideas on my move? Get rid of Saliba and Maatsen. Yeah, I don't really, I'm not against that. I'm also considering selling Saliba. I just think Arsenal in the last week have shown a lot of vulnerabilities, a bit like last season, so I think it's the right call to sell him. Not so sure about Maatsen. Yes, Atletico Madrid are slightly more likely to go through, but Dortmund's late goal does put that tie in the balance, and being at home, I would not be surprised at all if Dortmund kept the clean sheet or if they went through to the next round. Finally, a day that may be available to watch the full stream. No worries, we're saying it's always appreciated. You're active always on the Discord server and also here. Time to get rid of Jude? I don't think so. I know he's been quite underwhelming recently, especially in Matchday 9, but his Champions League record is exceptional. Never discount Real Madrid. Even if they were to get knocked out, I still think they can score a few goals in the process and cause Man City problems. It wouldn't surprise me if that match were to go all the distance to penalties or at least extra time. I still think PSG will advance despite poor form last game week. Yeah, I mean, maybe. The thing is, I saw this stat, and of course, history is one thing, and football is always full of surprises and a first time for everything, but PSG have never come back in a Champions League knockout tie when they've lost the first leg, so that's something worth considering. The Manta says, for the second leg transfer, I usually go for the players that should advance to the next round, but this season after leg 1, it's so hard to predict. You're absolutely spot on, and that's why I'm considering going for some Dortmund players, even though they could be knocked out, but kind of playing it in terms of the match day right in front of me, I think Dortmund are the most likely to keep a clean sheet, so you'll see very soon what my updated transfer plans are, but I completely agree with you, 100%. Simo says, hey Dylan, sell Mbappe to Rafinha? I probably wouldn't, unless you're using those funds to get De Bruyne in for Zaire Emery in the midfield. If you're not doing something like that, I'd probably keep Mbappe. Lucas says, who should I take out to bring in? Rafinha, Mbappe, or Haaland? So you're bringing in Rafinha and you have to sell one of the other two. I'd probably sell Mbappe, and as you saw earlier in the graphic I showed you, Haaland is top for chance of scoring with 52%. Mbappe second with 48%. And look, Mbappe can do it against Barcelona, but he was kept very quiet in the first leg. You could argue the same about Haaland, but being at home, I'd really back Man City to score 2 or 3 goals minimum, and Haaland has a great Champions League record, particularly in home matches. Welcome, Jose Luis, always a pleasure. Crack, what's better for you, Rafinha or Lewandowski? I think if you can afford it, Lewandowski. I'd go for him. I have a good feeling about him this week. I don't have a predicted league, to be honest. Maybe next season I'll make one. But yeah, I've only got like a private league, I think, in that format. Haaland didn't even have a sniff against Madrid first leg, true, but I think it will be different in the second leg. Is Walker back? Yeah, I just covered that. So it's not a guarantee that he will start, but it all depends how he feels in the training session today. Kubarsi or Koundé? Koundé is better for ball recoveries, but I'd probably go for Kubarsi. just because of the budget. I think that extra million can go a long way to helping your team. I'm personally looking at getting Cancelo just because he's got the added attacking potential, but that isn't set in stone. Chelsea is on fire. We're back. I don't know about that. I mean, it's a really big win, great performance, but I think it's a bit too premature. Kane more likely to score versus Arsenal than Haaland against Madrid. I agree. I literally said that as well. So as good as Arsenal have been this calendar year, the last week they've been so poor, and I put Harry Kane right at the top of captaincy options in general. Best captain, Dylan. For the Tuesdays between Barcelona and PSG forwards for me, so either Mbappe, Lewandowski or Rafinha. Take your pick from those three depending on your prediction. And for the Wednesday, I'd say Harry Kane. I honestly would. I used the Limitless chip in Matchday 9, didn't use 5 free transfers. Yeah, Feremi, I saw your comment, I did answer it. So if you check your notifications on YouTube, you'll see exactly why. So transfers don't carry over in the knockout stages in UCL Fantasy, and you always get free transfers for the second leg of each round, and you get 5 free transfers for the first leg, so that's why that happened. Rodrigo or Rafinha? I'd back Rafinha because of the home tie. Zaire Emery starts? Yeah, he should do. I covered that just a few minutes ago as well. I'm guessing some of these comments are quite old, so I'll catch up very soon. Vinicius to Griezmann? I don't think so. I'd keep Vinicius Jr. I like Griezmann a lot in home games, but not so much on his travels. Griezmann was a really good pick for me last match day. I got 74 points. Think I'd go over him again. That's fair enough. I did recommend Griezmann last week, but I don't like him as much in away matches. I could be wrong, but I just think his ceiling is lower. He's certainly capable of getting something. He's the engine of that Atletico Madrid team, but I think there are better forwards in match day 10. Transferring Lewandowski or Rafinha, as I just mentioned to Jose Luis, I'd go for Lewandowski if money is no issue. Will Odegaard play? Yes, I think so. He's in training. He's Arsenal's best player, arguably. He's going to play. Is Saka to KDB worth a -4 this match day? Not for me. KDB playing? I believe so, but it's so difficult to predict his minutes in general. He's managed so extensively by Pep Guardiola in the last season or so. Guerreiro or De Ligt? De Ligt is safer, but I'd probably take a punt on Guerreiro if I had to pick one. Cancelo versus Gvardiol. I think generally speaking, Gvardiol is better in the long term. Man City have a better team. They're more likely to reach the final, even though their route is more difficult than Barcelona's. And I also look at Gvardiol's ball recoveries as very impressive. But I'm personally looking at Cancelo because I've got Diaz already. And I want to cover Barcelona because I have no coverage whatsoever. But if it's just a 1v1 shootout, I'd probably give the edge to Gvardiol. Maybe not for this match day specifically, to be honest. It's more of a long-term thing as well, which could be the wrong way to approach it. Replacement for Declan Rice, maximum 6.5 million. I'd say Witsel or Zaire Emery still. Now, Fermin Lopez, if he were to start, which I don't think he will, he would be a very nice option. But I'd stick to one of Zaire Emery or Witsel, I think. Unless I'm missing somebody, maybe Pavlovic if he starts, but it looks like he won't. Odegaard or KDB? I'd go for KDB. Saka to KDB, if you can do it for free, then yes, but I wouldn't do it for a -4 hit, as someone else asked earlier. Hi Dylan, defenders for City, Gvardiol, but bear in mind that Ake is now back, so Gvardiol could become a rotation risk in future match days. How would a team look like if it was like a free hit, have given up? Well, it'd be like the Limitless team, but of course some players would be downgraded because of the budget, of course. I think, let me just try check. I'm not sure how over budget that team would be. So yeah, Neuer, Kobel. Yeah, I'd have to build one from scratch, which I'm not so sure about. I'll probably refer back to my wildcard team and maybe make a few changes there. So I'd probably go for Kobel and potentially Lunin as your 2 goalkeepers, mainly for budget. I'd also go for Kubarsi, Matson, Molina, Gvardiol, Saliba. You know what? I think what I'd do is I would go for, let's see, I'd take Saliba out and I'd probably put either another Dortmund defender or I would go for a Joao Cancelo as another example. Even Guerreiro would be a nice shout in for Saliba. Midfield, I'm quite happy with. I think Bellingham, Witsel, Foden, Saka, and perhaps a Musiala or Sane. And up front, Kane, Vinicius, and Haaland is probably what I'd go for. If you want another captaincy option, then consider Rafinha, Lewandowski, or Mbappe for one of those forwards, depending on your preference. Havertz, not for me. I wouldn't recommend him for this match day. If you have him, he's not a bad hold, but I think there are better forwards for matchday 10. I don't think he'll score. I hope I'm wrong, but I don't think he'll score in this game. Yeah, Dyer's okay at 4.5 million. I believe I mentioned him. I actually, in fact, included him in the best wildcard team. I made a late change from Saliba to Eric Dyer. Julio Pena, thank you very much as always. Hi Dylan, I'm having a hard time making any transfers. Same here, join the club. Any recommendations or advice on who I should target? So this is the difficulty, right, in UCL Fantasy, especially this season for the quarterfinals. It's so difficult to call some of these ties. Even Arsenal, Bayern Munich, you'd give Bayern the edge, but it's still almost 50-50. And ultimately, when it comes down to that, you have one or two options. You either focus your transfers on teams you back to go through, so maybe pile up on Bayern Munich, Atletico Madrid, Barcelona and Man City, or you focus on the immediate. Who has the best chance of a clean sheet in matchday 10? In my opinion, it's Dortmund. So you go for Hummels in the back line, even if you have Kobel in goal or Rice and Maatsen in the defence already. So that's kind of what I'd do. I'd probably mainly focus on what's in front of you. So look at matchday 10 and then reassess, because you do have 5 free transfers in matchday 11 after all. It gives you some flexibility to get some things wrong and also to be aggressive with your transfers. So I think I'd probably go for Dortmund defenders or Kobel in goal. I think goalkeeper transfers aren't ideal, but you catch my drift. In the midfield, I'd probably take punts on the likes of Sane or Musiala or Kevin De Bruyne if possible. And up front, I'd also consider Lewandowski, Rafinha, or maybe another Tuesday captaincy option like Mbappe. So I think that would be my main advice and the players to target. Hummels, Rafinha or Lewandowski, Mbappe, De Bruyne, Musiala or Sane. I think those are the players I'd mainly focus on. Yeah, I don't mind Rafinha as a captain on Tuesday, and if he doesn't work out, you've got Harry Kane or whoever you want to pick on the Wednesday, but I think Kane's the best overall. Thank you, John David. Do you fancy another City treble? I don't fancy it. I hope it doesn't happen, but it is, I want to say likely, but it's definitely brewing. The closer we get to the end of the season, the more likely it's becoming. I think they'll win the FA Cup no matter what. The league, they're very likely to win as well. I think if they beat Real Madrid, which they're very likely to, they're probably on course to win the Champions League again. But I still wouldn't rule out Real Madrid until Man City haven't got over that hurdle, which I think they will. But until they do that, I'd say a treble is still some time away. But yeah, it's I'll put it this way. It's more likely that Man City win a treble, I don't know, than Liverpool, Arsenal win the Premier League. That's the way I see it. Is it too soon to offload Saliba? Not necessarily, and if Arsenal turn up, they don't make stupid mistakes, then of course they could even shock the world, keep a clean sheet at Bayern Munich and go through. But I don't know, the last 2 games have shown a lot of vulnerabilities from last season, and I personally think they will concede. If you can go from Saliba to Hummels or Joao Cancelo, I'd thoroughly recommend it. Koundé or Hummels? Hummels for me. Rafinha or Griezmann? Rafinha for this match day. Thoughts on Vitinha in for Kimmich? Not a big fan of that. I know Vitinha scored in the first leg, but I still think Kimmich is as good, if not better, in UCL Fantasy. But he certainly has dropped in terms of his output in the knockout stages. Thank you, Julio Peña, as always, and thank you for the super chat as well. Let me just have a quick check, by the way, in terms of how we're getting on with subscribers. I think we've hit 23,000 already. If not, we're literally 2 away. So let's get to 23,000 subscribers. It'd be massively appreciated. And yeah, we'll look to get to more milestones in the future, such as 25,000 subscribers by the end of the year. Is Witsel a good pick as a budget mid? Yeah, you're not really going to get anything special from him. 4 to 5 points. He plays as a centre-back, so he's out of position in a negative sense, but the ball recoveries makes him decent in UCL Fantasy. Who would you replace KDB for if you do? Well, ideally it would be Zaire Emery, but I'm not so sure if I can get to him. It would require... I'm going to show you right now, actually. We might as well. So these are the 2 transfer plans, and let me know in the live chat, option A or option B. So what you see on screen is just my normal team. This is option A, buying Hummels, Koundé, and Rodri for the likes of Marquinhos, Saliba, and Zaire Emery. So this is option A. Option B would be buying Rafinha in for probably Mbappe, and that funds moves such as Sane or Kevin De Bruyne in the midfield for Zaire Emery and Hummels in the backline for Marquinhos. I think I'd be just short of getting Kevin De Bruyne, 0.8 million. So instead of Hummels, I might have to improvise and go for Kubarsi, actually. So yeah, I can go for something like this. Be sure to let me know what you prefer. This is option B, getting De Bruyne, Kubarsi, and Rafinha. And if not, it's option A, buying Rodri, Hummels, and Koundé. And I could even buy Joao Cancelo, but it would probably require keeping Zaire Emery, no Rodri as well. So let me show you that with this. So this would be the other options at my disposal. We'll buy Joao Cancelo and Hummels. And yeah, to be honest, with the third free transfer, I don't even know what to do with it. I could even do Saka to Musiala or Sane. And there's a few other things here and there, but nothing really of note, nothing massive that I could improve on. Lunin to Raya just isn't worth it in my opinion. So that is another set of transfer plans. So I'll call this option C. So this is option A, Hummels, Rodri and Koundé. Option B is buying Cubarsí, De Bruyne and Rafinha, but remember it requires selling Mbappe. And option C is buying Cancelo, Hummels, and that's about it really. I can't think of anything else for that third transfer. And remember, transfers don't roll over in the knockout stages, only in the group stages of UCL Fantasy. And all suspensions, all yellow cards are rescinded and reset in Matchday 11. So that's pretty much about it. Let's now go back to your questions. Lewandowski, Rafinha or Yamal? Probably Lewandowski for me, if money is no issue. KDB a must pick for me, says Level Earth. Fair enough. I had him in Matchday 7 when he delivered 13 points. I'm not so sure about him right now. Nikolai says option C. Fair enough. That's quite interesting. Roy Martin says Havertz to Rafinha and captain today. Yeah, I think that's a good call. Saka to Barcola or Sancho? Can I say neither? I think Saka is still a better option. And unless you're downgrading Saka to make an upgrade elsewhere, I'd keep him if possible. Bring Haaland over Mbappe. I discussed this in my team selection video, but if I'm being honest, I'm more against it now because I'm removing a good captaincy option from the Tuesday. If I were to sell Mbappe, I think it's very likely I'd go to Rafinha or Lewandowski, and that will be to fund other moves, really. So I'd probably keep Mbappe. Sabitzer over Zaire Emery, not a bad shout. Zaire Emery's a quality talent, but in 2024, his goal output hasn't been good enough, and he just came back from an injury away from home against Barcelona. Arsenal Bayern defender, I'd give Bayern the edge, so I'd go for a Bayern Munich defender. Guerrero's probably my favourite, although he's a bit risky. He's probably the one I'd go for. What do you think of Zaire Emery for Kimmich? To be honest, I'd keep what you have. I don't think it's worth transferring one out for the other. I think both of them score a similar amount of points. Do you think Akanji will play? That's a great question. I haven't seen any Man City predicted lineups, but thinking about it now, I think he will play. Now, they might do everything possible to get Walker in for that battle against Vinicius Jr., but it looks like Real Madrid could persist with that left wing role for Rodrigo, which then puts Vinicius Jr. in the forward positions. But I think Stones will play alongside Ruben Dias and Gvardiol. Then it's between Walker and Akanji for that right back spot, or technically John Stones and right back inverting into midfield. That's something else they could do. But I think Akanji does play. I can't guarantee it though. J Wall 10 says transfer out Kane, Haaland or Vinicius to Mbappe. Also Maatsen or Ryerson. Yeah, so I was actually thinking of the opposite. So transferring out one of Mbappe, Kane or Vinicius to Haaland, and I'm not so sure about it. I think you keep what you have, to be honest. I know why you're doing it, to get that extra Tuesday captain. If I had to pick, it's probably Vinicius, but I still think you could get a good return even if Real Madrid were to be eliminated. So that's where the issue lies. I'd probably get rid of Vinicius in that case. Also, Maatsen or Ryerson. Probably Maatsen, but he is a yellow card magnet, which is slightly off-putting. Thank you very much for the super chat, Haribo. Massively appreciate it as always. Hi, Dylan. I turned on a bit late, no worries, and just saw one of your answers that you prefer Rafinha over Griezmann. Could you elaborate on why? So I like Griezmann a lot for Matchday 9. I recommended him, in fact. I put him in the best Limitless team for that matchday, but I think Atletico Madrid will take a more defensive approach at the Signal Iduna Park. And Griezmann is far better in home matches compared to on his travels. I think that's a big factor. And with Barcelona being at home against the shaky PSG defence, I think Rafinha could carry on his very good form in all competitions. And in the Champions League, he's averaging, I think, 5.6 points per game, which isn't far off Griezmann, in fact. He's also cheaper, which allows you to make some upgrades elsewhere. So I'd probably go for Rafinha. It's just kind of a gut feeling. I know you could argue that it's very reactionary based on what Rafinha did last week. I'd have to admit that did catch me by surprise, but I would go for Rafinha over Griezmann. I just don't think Atletico Madrid will score many goals away from home, and it'll be a very cagey game, whilst PSG Barcelona could be very open-ended, to say the least. Let me know what you think of that, Haribo, as always. What about City defenders? I literally just listed it. So Gvardiol for me will start left back, with Dias and Stones as the centre-backs. Then it's between Walker and Akanji for that final defender slot. And I personally think Akanji will play, since Walker has been out for a couple of weeks now, or for some time now. Yeah, I personally think Walker will be benched for this. How's it, Dylan? Hope you're good, mate. Sorry for being late. No worries, Dave. It's good to see you here. Thank you. One more question. Captain Lewandowski or Mbappe? I'd personally go for Lewandowski. I've got a good feeling about him. He's in the thumbnail of this video. Quite a close call, of course, and Mbappe has been better in the Champions League in the last 2 or 3 seasons, but Lewandowski has a great record in this competition, and I would back Barcelona to go through, so my answer would be Lewandowski, although it is close. Barros says, I have Mbappe, Haaland, and Kane. Would you change any striker? If yes, which one and for what? Not necessarily. I do like Vinicius Jr., same with Rafinha, but yeah, I think you're fine with those 3 strikers. You don't need to sell any of them. I'm currently in the same situation. Instead of Haaland, I've got Vinicius. But yeah, I think the margins are so fine. And unless you have a really good feeling about a striker like I do with Lewandowski, I think I'd keep what you have, to be honest. Benita says, Kubarsi, Fermi Lopez, Jimenez, Oblak. Whom should I make captain? I don't think Fermi Lopez starts. I went through a lineup earlier, I believe, and it didn't have him in it. He also didn't start in Matchday 9. I'd probably go one of Kubarsi or Jimenez, and in that scenario, I would recommend going for at least one midfielder or forward from the Tuesday matches. I think it could be pivotal. Lazarino says, Musiala, Hummels, Maatsen in, Koke, Saliba, Molina out. Good transfers, to be fair. I'd probably do it. I really would. Koke is now back, I think. I think he's got one... No, sorry, he was a suspension risk, but that's not really too relevant at this point. Yeah, I like Hummels and Maatsen as a Dortmund defensive double-up. And Musiala, I mean, he's one of the best talents in world football. Great dribbler. Probably needs to step up in terms of GA, but I think Wednesday could be it for him. I really do. Yeah, I think that's a great set of transfers. I have no objections with that. Selling Molina, of course, isn't ideal, but I think Dortmund will score, so that's fine. Best replacement for Beraldo, Kubarsi, Azpilicueta or Maatsen? Kubarsi is probably best long-term. I think Barcelona go through. But I'd go for Maatsen in terms of clean sheet chances for Matchday 10. So my answer would be Maatsen. Fremi says, need funds to remove Zaire Emery and Sergio Gomez summer. Should I sell Saka or Bellingham or Haaland? Yeah, in that case, fair enough. I'd sell Saka if I had to pick from those 3. But it's still not ideal. But I'd sell Saka in that scenario. Musiala or Sane? I think I'd give the edge to Sane, just based on how he performed against Arsenal at the Emirates, and also he's got a good record against the Gunners in general, in fact. So, yeah, I think Sane, but he is carrying an injury problem. Tuchel kind of described the situation as Sane needs to grit his teeth, based on all the injuries we have with Gnabry and Coman. Yeah, I think I'd give the edge to Sane, but Musiala's a good shout. I don't have any goalkeeper. Who should I go for? I'd say Kobel or Oblak. I think they're the best goalkeepers in terms of clean sheet chances for Matchday 10, and that tie is very difficult to predict, to be fair, because the other goalkeeper for Wednesday would be Neuer, I think, if I had to pick one. But yeah, my personal favourite would be either Kobel or Oblak. Best 6-point family and mid in place of Kimmich? You're not really sport for choice, are you? If you, well, obviously you can't afford it, but I think Rodri would have been perfect if you were to make a change like that. At that price and below, you're looking at Zaire Emery, Pavlovic, but I don't even know if he's going to start. And the other one would be Witsel. So maybe Witsel will be my answer, but I think I'd just stick with Kimmich in that scenario. I think Rodrigo has more scoring for us than Vinicius. I can see him getting an assist. Yeah, and Rodrigo has a great record against Man City, but Vinicius, it looks like he'll play down the middle, whilst Rodrigo plays a more facilitating role on the left. That's something I saw. I think it was Madrid Extra who relayed the news. I'm not sure what the source was, but that's possible. Hey Dylan, am I out of my mind to consider Vinicius out for Griezmann? Not really. But I'm not going to lie, I think Vinicius is a better option for Matchday 10. If Griezmann was at home, I'd be fully on board with you, and I'd recommend him just like I did last week, but I'm not that keen on Griezmann this Matchday. I could be wrong, but I don't think so. Bro, literally Captain Mbappe to get a massive haul of 2 points. I mean, look, it's a Tuesday player, and it's not locked in, by the way. I haven't made my transfers yet. Mbappe could still come out, but, I mean, tell me the future then, mate. Who's going to go through, and we'll follow your advice. Buying defender, I'd say Guerrero is the best one. Yeah, I think Guerrero is the most exciting Bayern Munich defender. If he plays at left back, he would invert as a midfielder, so that's True. W Heat says predictions for today. I covered them earlier and I'll go through them again, but I went for 2-1 Bayern Munich for tomorrow's game. I also went for 3-2 Man City. And for today, I've gone for 1-1 Borussia Dortmund, Atletico Madrid. And I've gone for 2-1 Barcelona, but that could certainly change. Your thoughts on Leverkusen assets next season? Well, some players might leave. That's a possibility that we need to think about. But yeah, I mean, Leverkusen will be very exciting. Remember, the Champions League format will change, so it's going to be a very different UCL Fantasy next season, which I'll cover on this channel. That will be the aim. I think Leverkusen assets, Frimpong at the back would be very exciting with his attacking potential. Same with Grimaldo. I think one of those two would be very exciting. I'd also be looking at Boniface up front potentially, and I think the star man is Wirtz. It really is. So I think Wirtz and either Grimaldo or Frimpong would be the best options. And in terms of ball recoveries, I could see Hincapié being a decent option as well. Take out Molina. Depends who you're selling him to. What do you do with that extra money? But I don't mind keeping Molina, to be honest. I'm waiting for lineups still. Yeah, that's the best thing to do in UCL Fantasy. Wait for the lineups and then make your transfers just in case. Too high for you, says Hey Dylan. Cancelo or Hakimi? I'd go for Cancelo. Bayern or City defender this week? I think City's game will be higher scoring. In that case, I'd go for a Bayern defender and recommend Guerrero. Yeah, once again, I'd say Guerrero is my top pick for Bayern Munich defenders. Ruben Dias or Walker? Ruben Dias. Lewandowski in for Kane. Do not sell Harry Kane. I can't stress that enough. He's got a great record against the Gunners. Penalties seem inevitable for him whenever he plays against them. Don't sell Harry Kane, no matter what you do. I'm very confident he's going to score tomorrow. Will KDB start? I think so. I can't guarantee it, though. The fact he played so many minutes the other day against Luton is quite worrying, but I think he will start. Do you prefer UCL or FPL deadline time approach? I prefer the UCL approach, and I also prefer the game in general when people do ask me that. Now, those that are around the world do face a disadvantage with the time zones, and I do think the UCL deadlines are quite helpful, whilst the FPL ones are kind of UK-centric, so I'd go with the UCL one. Eduardo Ferreira says, Jimenez, Lunin, Akanji for Kubarsi, Ederson and Dyer. What do you think? I'm guessing you're selling Jimenez, Lunin and Akanji. Yeah, I think that's fine. Ederson's a decent show, actually, from the Wednesday matches. In fact, he might be the best goalkeeper to invest in for the long term. Yeah, I think that's absolutely fine. Now, if Akanji were to start, I think he's the second best Man City defender. But because he's a bit of a rotation risk compared to Ruben Dias, I think my final rankings for Man City defenders will be Gvardiol first, Dias second, and probably Akanji third. But yeah, I think your transfers are quite well thought out. I do like that. Thank you, Haribo. Massively appreciated. Your explanation for Rafinha over Griezmann was very helpful. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Last issue. Do you think Rodri is the best mid at 7.5 million or below for this week? Great question. I do like Rodri in the long term, and he's kind of a steady Eddie. He gets you 4 or 5 points minimum. He also has the occasional goal threat, which is very useful. But I think if I had to pick one midfielder at that price and below, it probably would be Yamal. Despite his poor UCL fantasy record, I do think he could step up tonight against Paris Saint-Germain. I think that fixture could really suit him. So I'd probably go for Yamal as a punt. I haven't really recommended him much on this channel, and he hasn't really delivered yet, but I think he will eventually, and this could be the night. So I'm going to go for Yamal. Sorry, should I swap Mbappe and Vinicius for Haaland and Kane? I do prefer Haaland and Kane as a duo. I just think Harry Kane is the best forward in the game right now, especially for Matchday 10. Just remember, if you are selling Mbappe, who are you going to captain on Tuesday? You might end up captaining a Kubarsi, a Molina, or a Cancelo, someone that isn't really too, I don't know, desirable. You know, you don't expect a clean sheet for any of those defenders, and then you're kind of just hoping for the best there. But yeah, I think I probably would. It's just reconsider selling Mbappe, in my opinion. Hi, mate. Who do you think is the 3 best transfers this week? It depends on your team. It's a difficult one because you have to strike that balance between looking at the future, who do you think is going to go through, and also tackling what's right in front of you. But if I had to pick one in each position, I think that's the best way to tackle this question, is to go for Hummels in the back line. In the midfield, I'd probably go for De Bruyne. And in the forward line, I'd probably go for either Lewandowski or Rafinha. I have a feeling Dortmund, Arsenal, Real won't go through. I mean, to be honest, mate, the bookies and the odds will all say the same thing. The favourites right now are Man City, Bayern Munich, Barcelona, and Atletico Madrid, but I actually think Dortmund could go through. That late goal has changed that tie completely. Lewandowski or Mbappe? You know my thoughts. Generally speaking, Mbappe is my answer, but I've got a good feeling about Lewandowski this week. I really do, so I'm going to go for Lewandowski. Yeah, Pedri is confirmed to start. What do you think about him? Very good young talent, but in terms of goals and assists, a bit like Yamal, to be fair. He hasn't really shown it. He's also, well, it's Gavi who's the yellow card magnet. With Pedri, I love him as a player, but I'm not so sure about him as a UCL Fantasy pick, to be honest. He might play a bit more advanced against PSG, but I'm still not feeling it. Is it fine to use Limitless today? Of course. I covered this in the Limitless video and podcast. If you still have the chip, I'd look to use it now. I really would. Do I sell Vinicius for Haaland? I'm in the same scenario as you, and my current thinking is to not do it. Haaland has the edge, he's more likely to score, but Vinicius has the assist potential, and he's got a good record against Man City, so I'm not so sure about that. Rafinha or Havertz? Rafinha. El Nino says transfer out 1. Okay, if you put the next part of the question, yeah, I think you did. I'll get back to that very soon. Dopa says, what do you think of Saliba, Lucas Hernandez and Bellingham out for Guerrero, Kubarsi and De Bruyne? Great transfers. Of course, selling Bellingham is always risky, but you're going to De Bruyne. And the only concern I'd have with that is if De Bruyne starts or not. That's the only question mark I'd have. Lucas Beraldo, 4. 0 million in the bank. I'd say Maatsen. Bavia says, Yamal, Musiala and Haaland to bring in for Saka, Rodri and Vinicius. That's interesting indeed. I like the transfers in, but I'm not going to lie. I think Saka is a far better UCL Fantasy option than Yamal. I know he's got a tougher fixture, but I'm not so sure about that move. And then Rodri to Musiala. Yeah, it's not too shabby, but then Vinicius to Haaland. Overall, I'd say yes. I think they're good transfers, but I just reconsider some of the players you're selling, even Saka. MH Kozar says, Griezmann out, Lewandowski or Haaland in. What do you think? I'm going to go for Lewandowski. I'm backing him this match day. I haven't really covered him too much or bigged him up too much this season, but he's in great form since Xavi announced he's leaving at the end of the season. I'm going to go for Lewandowski. Transfer 1 out of Haaland or Mbappe for Lewandowski. It's probably going to be Mbappe. And you captain Lewandowski for today. If that doesn't work out, you captain Kane or Haaland tomorrow. And of course, you even could have a midfielder option like Bellingham or Foden to captain tomorrow. So yeah, I'm going to stick with that. I would sell Mbappe there. Marcus Luis says out, Vinicius, Saka, Lino and Saliba. -4 in, Gundogan, Kane, Sane and Hummels. They're good transfers in, but I'm not going to lie to you. The fact that UCL Fantasy is only 13 match days, it always puts me off hits. I think I've taken hits twice in my whole lifetime, and one of them was kind of forced. There was a lot of rotation and injuries. I think it was around match day 5 or 6. The other time, I'm not even kidding, I literally took a -4 hit by accident, and this was before I made videos on this format. So, look, that's one way of playing the game, and you can have that -4 hit pay off, but I personally would try to avoid the hit if possible. Good transfers in though. Trying to think about what you could do to avoid the hit. If possible, I keep Saka and not buy Gundogan. That'd be my advice. Vitinha or Cruz? Probably Vitinha. Lewandowski, Kane por Griezmann y Mbappe. Sí, creo que sí. Es difícil elegir entre Lewandowski y Mbappe, pero para mí Lewandowski tiene muy buenas chances de anotar un gol esta noche. Y Harry Kane para mí es el mejor delantero en UCL Fantasy para la jornada 10, así que está bien. Steelix X says, Saka to Yamal, Witsel to Roy Sancho, and Hernandez to Hummels. Is that good? Yes, but I think Saka to Yamal is a downgrade. Unless you're so bullish on Yamal and you think he's going to deliver and you're kind of unsure about Saka, you think he's going to blank, fair enough, but that's the only transfer I would question. Andres Suarez says, have Kane, Haaland and Vinicius. Should I put in Lewandowski for any of them? It's a difficult one because they're all great forwards for match day 10, but I would recommend a Tuesday captaincy option, and Lewandowski is a great punt. If I had to pick, I'd probably sell Vinicius to Lewandowski, but I do recognise Vinicius' quality in UCL Fantasy. He's got the assist and goal potential, so that's a difficult transfer to make, but I think I'd do that. Best front three on Limitless. I'd probably go for Lewandowski, Erling Haaland and Harry Kane. The Manta says start, bench, cut. Torres, El Nino, David Villa, Raul. Oh, I'm not going to lie. I was a massive fan of David Villa when I was growing up. I really liked him as a player. Of course, Fernando Torres in his prime was exceptional, but it's so difficult. Raul was a bit before my time. If I'm being honest, his prime was, you know, when I couldn't even remember anything. I'm that young, arguably. I'm probably going to go for David Villa to start because I just really like the guy as a player. Quality player, can play on the left and up front. He was a beast at Valencia for the Spanish national team, the all-time record goal scorer, and he was pretty good for Barcelona as well. So David Villa to start. I'm probably going to go for Torres bench and cut Raul, but I think Madrid fans are going to be, you know, having pitchforks on the other end of the screen saying, "What are you saying, mate?" It's probably because I haven't seen enough of Raul to say that. I think he was a pure goal poacher and decent link-up play, but yeah, David Villa for me definitely starts. Hey Dylan, what do you think about, let's see what the question is, Saliba, Beraldo, Saka out, Koundé, Guerrero, KDB in? Yeah, I think that's fine. Honestly, all good transfers. As good as Saka is, I think De Bruyne is an upgrade. The only concern is, will he start or not? That's something else to think about. I'm going to whiz through these, by the way, since the questions are coming in. You know, by the time I answer a question, another one comes in. We do have over 400 likes, sorry, over 400 people watching. Let's get this stream to over 100 likes and then push on towards 200. It costs nothing and helps the channel greatly. Thank you to those that send in super chats like Haribo and everyone else. Thank you very much for that. It's massively appreciated. And we have hit 23,000 subscribers during the stream. So thank you to those that have supported the channel. It goes a long way to keeping things going in terms of UCL Fantasy and FPL content. Vinicius for Rafinha. If it gives you a Tuesday captaincy option which you otherwise lack, then yes. Griezmann plus Mbappe or Lewandowski and Haaland. I would go for Lewandowski and Haaland there, MH, for Matchday 10. Fatal says Rafinha or Vinicius. I'm only going to go for Rafinha simply because it gives you a Tuesday captaincy option. That's about it. I do like Vinicius a lot still. Odegaard or Foden? Foden. Gustavo says Kobel or Raya for goalkeeper. Definitely Kobel, but remember, Kobel plays today and Raya plays tomorrow. So if you have both goalkeepers, start Kobel. If he blanks, you start Raya tomorrow. That's as simple as that. But overall, Kobel's the better goalkeeper for UCL Fantasy in Matchday 10. Bavia says Yamal, Musiala and Haaland to bring in for Saka, Rodri and Vinicius. I think I mentioned this before. My answer was yes. My only concern is selling Saka to Yamal. Marcus Luis says out. Yeah, I did answer this question as well. And as I mentioned, if possible, try not to take a hit. Ola Dylan, how about Kimmich? I'm not a big fan of him, but I think he's a hold if you have him, unless you can go up to a Saka even, or a De Bruyne, a Foden, a Bellingham. Around his price and below, I think only Rodri really stands out as a replacement. Replaced all Arsenal players, fair enough. I think you're an Arsenal fan, right, Venom? Look, they still have a chance of going through, but I'd probably give Bayern the edge 60% at least. And based on the last week for Arsenal and their performances, I think Bayern Munich's chances are even higher than that. We'll be out for work for tomorrow. I will make sub after night today. Yeah, that's completely fine. If you do find some time tomorrow, though, you do have that window between 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. UK time where you can make the substitutions based on the lineups, and that could really be helpful. Yamal or Bernardo Silva? You know what? I'm going to go for Bernardo Silva. Yeah, I think he scored against Real Madrid. He scored the opening goal last season in that 4-0 victory. He also scored the opening goal this time round, didn't he? In the reverse fixture. I'm going to go for Bernardo Silva. Yeah, how many transfers are from quarterfinals to semifinals? So just to break it down for everyone, in terms of transfers, the way it works, for the first leg of each round, so for match day 9, 11 and 13, you get 5 free transfers. For the second leg, so we're talking about match day 8, 10 and 12, you get 3 free transfers. Welcome, Angel. Good to see you. Should I sell Lino? Yes, because he is suspended, as you well know. And that is a shame because he scored. He was pretty good in that match. He's been a great player for Atletico Madrid this season. Yeah, I'd sell him. No chance Ake will start. There is a chance, but I don't think he will. I think it'll be Gvardiol, Diaz, Stones, and either Akanji or Walker. Saka or Bellingham? Probably Bellingham. How would you rate Palmer current standard? I'm not going to lie, I've kind of been in extensive talks in the group chat. I know a Tottenham fan who's raving, he's waxing lyrical about Palmer. And look, he's having a great season. It's a fantastic breakout season, one of the best we've seen in recent times. But if, in my honest opinion, and people can slate me for it, I think he's nowhere near Foden and Saka yet. The thing is with Saka, people always level out a new level of criticism. So, for example, they say he needs to do it in the Champions League, he needs to do it in the World Cup, he needs to do it for 2-3 years in a row, he needs to do this, and I'm going to apply that same level of standards to Palmer. He's looking like a great prospect, he's got a lot of potential, and he's carrying Chelsea, but I'd probably say in terms of standards, I mean, difficult to compare because he's currently better than Kulusevski, Rashford, etc., but in terms of Foden and Saka, I think he's got a way to go yet. David Costa says Rodrigo, Upamecano, and Saliba out for Lewandowski, Hummels, and Kubarsi. Yeah, I think that's fine. I just had to think about it for a moment. I like Rodrigo and Saliba still. I think they're decent UCL Fantasy options on their day, but you're making upgrades in every single position. I'd do it. Welcome, Dak Daniels. Great name. Haaland or Kane? Kane. Bruno Marquez says, hi Dylan, midfielder transfer for Zaire Emery up to 8 million. Yamal would be one of them. Bernardo Silva is just out of reach. I do like him for Matchday 10. But yeah, I'd go for Yamal. Welcome, Ventislav. Always a pleasure. Okay, interesting questions here. And by the way, we do have over an hour left. I think the lineups are already out, so I'm going to go through them after this question. So Ventislav says, Lunin, Oblak, Kubarsi, Gvardiol, Koundé, Beraldo, Maatsen, Saka, Jude, Phil, Rodri, Zaire Emery, Kane, Haaland, Griezmann. You think it's a good team for this match day? Yes. In terms of ways to improve, though, I would say Beraldo. I'd look at selling him. Maybe to Hummels, or you could go to Molina if you back Atletico Madrid defensively in this match day. So yeah, I think Beraldo is the weak link. Apart from that, maybe Zaire Emery could be upgraded, but I don't know how much money you have. And I'd also consider Griezmann out to Lewandowski or Rafinha. That's something I would, have in the back of my mind. But yeah, good team overall. It's kind of nitpicking really, and I could be wrong about the transfers out I'm suggesting. So yeah, we do have over 100 likes and over 500 people watching. Thank you very much. We have reached a new milestone today, 23,000 subscribers. Be sure to keep plugging away at the like button. Let's get this over 200 likes overall. And let's go through the lineups now. They are out already. So let's change the screen and go to Barcelona and PSG's lineups. So we'll start off with the home team. Ter Stegen in goal, Koundé, Araujo, Kubarsi, and Joao Cancelo. De Jong, Gundogan, and Pedri. Yamal, Lewandowski, and Rafinha. So no surprises there whatsoever. As for Paris Saint-Germain, they've got Donnarumma, Nuno Mendes, Lucas Hernandez, Marquinhos, and Hakimi is now back from suspension. Fabian Ruiz, Vitinha, Zaire Emery, Barcola, Mbappe, and Dembele as the front three. Let's now go through the Borussia Dortmund and Atletico Madrid lineups. So let me just quickly pause this just in case. Okay, it's just an image. Good thing. So Kobel in goal, Ryerson, Hummel, Schlotterbeck, and Maatsen. Sabitzer and Emre Can, Adeyemi, Brandt, Sancho, and Füllkrug. Sancho just returned from an illness, so he is in the starting 11. As for Atletico Madrid, they've got Oblak, Azpilicueta, Hermoso returns from his injury, Jimenez, Witsel, Molina, De Paul, Koke, Marcos Llorente, with Griezmann and Morata up front. The only injury that Atletico Madrid have is is Depay. That's why Morata's starting now. And they've got one suspension in Samuel Lino. As for Dortmund, they've got a few more injury problems. I think, who is it? It's Daniel Marlon. I don't think he's even in the squad. I'll double check that. And apart from that, they've got a few other injury problems here and there. One of the promising youngsters is out with an injury. Let's see. Oh, he's actually on the bench here. Bino Gittins is the name. They've got Meyer, Lotka. Let's see, anyone else? Yeah, Daniel Marlon is out. So that is confirmed now. As for Atletico Madrid, they've got some decent names on the bench, but yeah, pretty much standard stuff there. We'll check Barcelona and PSG's benches very quickly. Piss off, man. Don't play this video. Trying to get me copyright. Iñaki Peña. So yeah, let's see. Ferran Torres, Joao Felix, Marcos Alonso, Romeu, Roque, Casado, Fermin Lopez. So for those with Fermin Lopez, do get rid of him if possible. He is on the bench. As for Paris Saint-Germain, yeah, Skriniar's on the bench. Lucas Beraldo, he's another sell. But yeah, pretty much no big surprises there. I covered these predicted lineups earlier. I think both of them were pretty much spot on there. Let's now go back to my transfer plans. So we had option A, option B, and option C. Let's go through all of them right now, and I'm going to put a poll out and see what you guys and girls are thinking. I'm going to try locking my transfers very soon so I can go back to your questions as always. So let's make this poll. I'll try to be very quick because I don't want to just sit in silence whilst people are like, answer my question, damn it. So, which team, which transfers do you prefer? I'm going to see if I can actually add the names in there, which would be quite helpful to follow. So Hummels, Koundé, and Rodri is option A. So Hummels, Koundé, and Rodri. Yeah, so that's option A. Option B is Kubarsi, De Bruyne, and Rafinha. Let's see, so Kubarsi, De Bruyne, plus Rafinha. And option C is going to be Cancelo, Hummels, and that's about it. Cancelo. I'll do that like that. Hummels plus Cancelo. All right, I'm going to put this poll out. And of course, so if you want to see any other polls, be sure to let me know. Maybe the best captaincy options for the Tuesday and the Wednesday. And for all patrons and channel members, by the way, I will be keeping you updated with my team in terms of substitutions and change of captaincy. So be sure to keep your eyes peeled for that. I'm going to start doing that again. Yeah, I'm going to let that poll sit for a bit. So yeah, just for context, before you answer the poll, the context you need is this. This is option A. So to buy Hummels, Koundé, and Rodri, I would have to sell Marquinhos, Saliba, and Zaire Emery. Option B would include buying Kubarsi, De Bruyne, and Rafinha for Marquinhos, Zaire Emery, and Mbappe. As for option C, buying Cancelo and Hummels would be for Saliba and Marquinhos. So that's all the context you need. Be sure to let me know what you think in the live chat and also in the poll by voting there. It's massively appreciated as always. And let's go into your questions again. And we're getting closer to 200 likes. Be sure to keep on plugging away. Vinicius or Lewandowski? Lewandowski. Will Ederson definitely start? Or is there a chance Ortega keeps his place? I think Ederson starts, and we saw that against Luton Town as well. Jeremy says, Dylan, I took a -4 to add Foden. Yeah, I mean, in terms of players like Foden, I think a -4 hit can pay off. That's for sure. I just don't like hits in this fantasy format in general. I hate FPL Challenge, haven't touched it yet. Yeah, I didn't like the last one with the -5s and -10s. That put me off buying Anthony Gordon, and we all saw what he did against Tottenham. But yeah, it is what it is. I kind of enjoy FPL Challenge, but maybe it's better if they do it once a month and had better prizes. That could be a better thing to do. Aspie time, let's go. Good luck, Wei Seng. I wouldn't mind an Atletico Madrid clean sheet. I do have Molina and Oblak after all. Rafinha, Morata, or Lewandowski? Lewandowski for me. And I put Rafinha second, Morata third. Sancho, good differential. If I were to pick any Borussia Dortmund midfielder, I'd probably go for Sancho. Pedri, good differential. As I mentioned earlier, I don't like him in UCL Fantasy. Quality player, one of the best young talents in world football, but in terms of goals and assists, not good enough in my opinion. If you are feeling it though, back your gut because, you know, football is always full of surprises. It could be Pedri's first knockout Champions League goal today, for example, so you just never know. Is KDB going to play? I think so, but it isn't guaranteed. Leo says Rafinha and De Bruyne or Yamal and Mbappe. I'd actually go for Rafinha and De Bruyne, but it's very close. We're talking about a 50-50 call there. Very, very close. The Fantasy Football Lad says, hey Dylan, how are you? Good, what about you? So you put your team, free transfers, 0.6 million in the bank. So in terms of ways to improve this team, I think Marquinhos could be sold. I'm also looking at your... You know what? I think Marquinhos, Saliba, and Rodrigo are the three so-called weaklings in your team for Matchday 10. So what I'd consider is Marquinhos downgraded to Kubarsi, maybe. That gives you enough money to then make some other moves, such as Saliba to Hummels, if you're backing Dortmund for the clean sheet. And you could then use those extra funds to do Rodrigo to Rafinha or Lewandowski. That's what I would do there. Bellingham or Bernardo Silva. To be fair, for Matchday 10, I'd probably back Bernardo Silva. De Bruyne or Bernardo? De Bruyne. That assumes that he's going to start, though, which isn't guaranteed. I think Bernardo Silva's more likely to start. Hi, still have the wildcard. Is it worth to play it? Yes, but it is team dependent. So if you want to make more than 3 transfers, this could be a nice time to use it. Just bear in mind, some of these ties hang in the balance. And as much as you have 5 free transfers for Matchday 11, for the semi-finals, you could find yourself in a situation where you wildcard into a team and you have 7-8 players out for the next round, which could be a problem. But yeah, I'd wildcard either now or in matchday 11, but it all depends on your team. Amigo, Rafinha or Lewandowski? Lewandowski para mí. Thank you, Edward Flores. Massively appreciated. Dylan, thank you. It's my first time watching soccer and in a fantasy league. Currently first placed in my friend's fantasy league with your advice. That's great to hear. And thank you very much for the super chat. It's massively appreciated. And it's good to see new names in the super chats and also in the live stream. So thank you very much there, mate. If you have any other questions or comments, be sure to let me know and I will answer them. Thank you. Vinicius to Haaland. I'm thinking about it myself and I'm not so sure. If I had a free transfer to spare and I didn't know what to do with it, then maybe I would. I think Haaland's more likely to score, but Vinicius has that assist for it as well. Top 3 mids for this match day. De Bruyne if he starts, Foden, and I'd also go for... I think the third midfielder is quite tough. Usually it'd be quite simple, I'd say Saka and Bellingham, but for this match day, I think I'm going to go for either Musiala or Sane. I'm kind of torn between those two. Akanji will start? I think so, Ignacio, but I'm more confident in Gvardiol, Diaz and Stone starting. Haaland to Rafinha? I wouldn't sell Haaland. Maatsen or Hummels? Hummels. I mean, just look at his ball recoveries. He's got the most in UCL Fantasy, the most points of any defender. He got 11 ball recoveries in matchday 9, which is incredible. Brandt or Rodri? Yeah, Brandt has a lot of attacking potential. He's probably the best Borussia Dortmund midfielder over the course of the season in this game, but yeah, I'm quite conflicted about that one. I just think Rodri's a safer pick in general. My app is bugging for the transfer. If that's the case, use the browser on your phone or go to your laptop if possible or your tablet and make sure to get them away. But generally speaking, the Champions League site, I don't want to jinx it by the way, but it generally runs quite well. No crashes. Lewandowski in, Mbappe out. I don't mind that, to be honest. And if you can use those funds to make upgrades elsewhere, maybe buy De Bruyne in the midfield, I think it could really work out. Serial EXE574 says in, Haaland, Rafinha, Guerrero, out, Mbappe, Morata, Saliba. Yeah. Now, selling Mbappe is the only transfer that could, backfire. It's always risky to sell a player of that quality, but I like the transfers in. I'm not going to lie to you. Kevin Centurion says Vinicius or Haaland por Rafinha y le vendo a Saka o Musiala por De Bruyne. Generalmente prefiero a Saka antes que Musiala, pero para la jornada 10 creo que es mejor vender a Saka. Vinicius o Haaland por Rafinha, sacaría a Vinicius Jr. y mantendría a Haaland. He make a good shout. I mean, if you have him, he's fine. He's not a great option at the moment, but I wouldn't be looking to sell him unless you can make a big upgrade. So you can go up to Musiala, Sane, maybe Bernardo Silva, Foden, etc. 4.7 million defender, Maatsen. What do you think of doing extra transfers at the cost of losing points? Not for me. I wouldn't recommend it. And a lot of people are struggling to make free transfers, to be honest. Top 3 mids for this match day I've covered. Let me know what you think. Bernardo or De Bruyne I've covered. Real Madrid or Manchester City? I did give Madrid the slight edge before the tie. I thought they'd win at the Bernabeu. The fact that it's 3-3 and Man City are a better team overall, I think Man City are more likely to go through. But do not discount Real Madrid. That's a mistake people make time after time again. They never won at the Etihad, but if any team can do it and make the impossible seem a possibility, it's Real Madrid. Hope you're up for Dortmund tonight, Dylan. Another great stream. Thank you, RSBVB. Yeah, I think I'll have both games on at the same time. And in fact, I think I watched more of Dortmund, Atletico Madrid last week. Don't know what transfers to make, says Bridgerton. Join the club. Mbappe, Kane, Haaland, Saka, Jude, Foden, Rodri, Emery, Hummels, Maatsen, Saliba, White, Hernandez, Lunin, Oblak. Yeah, this is where it comes down to focusing on match day 10. So if you're backing Barcelona, maybe you could go for Lewandowski or Rafinha up front. But I think a better transfer for you is selling Saliba. You've got 2 Arsenal defenders there away to Bayern Munich. Even if they were to go through, it's very difficult to predict an Arsenal clean sheet at the Allianz. So I would sell one of Saliba or White at the very least. And I would look at buying Cancelo if possible. If not, Kubarsi or Koundé are fine. I think that's the best set of transfers for you there, Bridgerton. Saliba and or White being sold. And also Zaire Emery in the midfield. Do I swap Haaland or Vinicius for Mbappe or Lewandowski? If I were to make a transfer, it would be Vinicius out for Lewandowski, but that's a personal take. It's risky either way. No talk about Nuno Mendes or Hakimi? Yeah, Nuno Mendes, I'm not going to lie, I don't think he's a great UCL Fantasy option. I think Hakimi has more attacking potential in this game, and in terms of ball recoveries, Marquinhos is the best. Not a bad shout though, and Hakimi is probably my preference from the two. Creo que ya recibiste 100 preguntas iguales sobre los delanteros. Sí, yo también tengo el mismo problema, pero bueno, es así. Hola Dylan, saludos. Have a tricky one for you. Okay, I'm ready. Vinicius, Martinelli, Royce out for Sabitzer, Kane, Rafinha in, and thinking for a -4, Emery out for Bernardo Silva. Thanks, suerte. I'm not a big fan of hits, Domenico, but I do like Bernardo Silva for matchday 10. I'd probably pass on that hit though, and I'd keep Zaire Emery. And as for your transfers, they're all really good, but if you could, I'd keep Vinicius Jr. I can see why you're doing it though, because with Rafinha, you gain a Tuesday captaincy option, and Harry Kane's the best striker on paper in matchday 10. So, yeah, I think that's absolutely fine. Yeah, I'd probably go ahead and do it. Just not take the -4 hit. Brandt or Rodri, I've covered this. I personally prefer Rodri. What are the best goalkeeper options? Either Kobel or Oblak overall. If you need a Wednesday goalkeeper as well, it's between Neuer and Ederson for me. Morata or Lewandowski or Rafinha, I've covered this, mate. Lewandowski for me. Jesus or Rafinha? Rafinha. Last thing for tonight, just wanted to tell you I love your content and personality, mate. The community you build is great, and it's a real joy being a part of it. Good luck all, and enjoy the games as always. Thank you, Ventislav, as always, and thank you for being a channel member and all your contributions to the channel with your questions and comments. So I appreciate that, and all the best for matchday 10. Ree says Mbappe or Rafinha Lewandowski. I'm going for Lewandowski in this matchday. Silva for Lino -4. I think I'd do it just because Lino's suspended and Bernardo Silva is someone I back for this match day. But Bernardo Silva, generally speaking, isn't a great fantasy option. Morata for Rafinha. Yeah, I'd sell Morata for Rafinha. That's a good transfer. Captain Kane. Captain a Tuesday player first. Remember, you can captain someone on the Tuesday. If they blank or don't do that well, you want more points from your captain, you can change it during the substitution window. So, yes, Captain Kane is fine, but captain someone from Tuesday first. I know this is unrelated, but who do you got winning the Europa League? Easily by Leverkusen now. I thought Liverpool would win it, and, you know, earlier in the season, you know, before Liverpool were touted as title challengers, I thought they'd win the Carabao and the Europa League. It now looks like they won't win the Europa League. They've got a big task in Italy to do. But yeah, I think Leverkusen win the treble. They win the German Cup alongside the Bundesliga title they've already won and the Europa League. Your reaction on penalty drama yesterday? It's very childish from Madueke and Jackson, but look, Palmer's chasing the golden boot. I get it. He's the penalty taker, so there shouldn't really be a debate. But I do think, you know, you look at other examples, and look, not everyone's the same, but you look at examples like Messi, Saka, and a few other options like that. You know, they're gifting penalties to players sometimes in need of confidence and stuff. Look, I'm not going to blame Palmer for that. I think Madueke and Jackson were in the wrong, especially Madueke, but I don't know. It's definitely not something right there in the camp. I mean, you're 6-0, you win 6-0, you have a great performance, and you still have drama like that happen. It kind of sums up Chelsea at the moment. Rice, Molina, and Hernandez to Rodri, Cancelo, and Maatsen. Yeah, I think that's absolutely fine. Molina to Cancelo is debatable, but I think it's probably just about right. And I like Maatsen and Rodri. Yeah, good transfers. Note, I have to stress this once again. If you don't make any transfers, if you have one transfer to spare, no transfers carry over in the knockout stages. It only happens in the group stages of UCL Fantasy. Rui, you are spamming the chat with the same question. I have answered it. I've highlighted it on screen. I don't know what else you want me to do, but I'm not going to go through that since I've covered it already. Ezra says Griezmann for Rafinha, Beraldo to Gvardiol, and Rodri to Musiala. What do you think? Spot on. Great transfers. I don't think Man City keep a clean sheet, but I think Gvardiol's a good option for ball recoveries, and he's even got a bit of attacking threat now. Chance of Palmer for the Golden Boot? I mean, he's got a chance, that's for sure. He's also got the game advantages. He's got 2 double game weeks to come, but I'm still backing Haaland to win it. I think Haaland will stat pad in 2 or 3 games. I think Man City's fixtures are too good, so I think Haaland will still win it. Asante, look, it's just my captaincy option. It's not locked in. If I keep Mbappe, he will be my captain. It's not a big deal. If he blanks, I can sub him out and change the captaincy. It's honestly not a big deal. Arsenal left back who will start, I hope and pray it's Tomiyasu. It's the right call. It's the easy one. I think once Timber is fully fit, he's the best left back Arsenal have. And it's a big shame he got injured so early. But yeah, it should be Tomiyasu. No worries, Rui. Just hopefully you got the answer to the question. I did say Lewandowski is the one. Kane, Mbappe, and Rafinha, or Kane, Lewandowski, and Griezmann. I'm going to go for... I do like the Kane and Lewandowski one, but I'm just not that sure about Griezmann. I'm going to stick with Kane, Lewandowski, and Griezmann. Is it worth playing Limitless today? Yeah, I think so. Because in the semi-finals, you've only got 4 teams left, less diversity, and your Limitless is less effective in my opinion. So I'd recommend using it now if possible. I could do Rodrigo to Mbappe. Worth it? Yeah, I think so. I think it's worth it. Hummels or Guerrero? Hummels. Mbappe or Lewandowski? Lewandowski. I've made transfers as Wasif. Yeah, looks pretty good. I think I made some suggestions earlier, and yeah, your team is looking even better now. Georgie says, which transfer should I do? Bernardo Silva to De Bruyne or Beraldo to Molina? Oh, that's really difficult because I think De Bruyne is an upgrade on Bernardo Silva, but De Bruyne is a rotation risk, so I'd probably do Bernardo Silva to De Bruyne if you're backing De Bruyne to start 100%, but it's a difficult one. Best captain for tomorrow, Harry Kane. Captaincy options, on the Tuesday, I'd say Barcelona attacker or Mbappe. So Rafinha, Lewandowski, or Mbappe. And on the Wednesday, Harry Kane's my favourite. Yeah, Georgie, no need to spam the chat. Let's see what else we have. Really struggling with my third and last transfer. Do I take out Molina, Gabriel, or Akanji? I keep Molina, and I look to sell one of Gabriel or Akanji. I'm not so sure if Akanji starts. I think it's between him and Walker for that final defender slot. I'd probably give Akanji the edge, but I couldn't guarantee it, to be honest. Gabriel away to Bayern Munich, I just don't really see a clean sheet or anything, so I think I'd take out Gabriel. Captain Kane or Lewandowski or Mbappe? Well, you captain a Tuesday player first. Captain either Lewandowski or Mbappe. My advice would be Lewandowski. And you captain Kane tomorrow if you're not happy with your captaincy points. De Paul to Rodri for a -4. Not sure about a -4. Koundé when PSG will inevitably score 2+. Well, even if they do score 2+, Koundé can get ball recovery points. And by the way, this is option A of 3 options that I proposed in the poll. I'm not certainly getting Koundé or even Kubarsi or Cancelo, but it is likely. I do want some Barcelona coverage. Best captain for tomorrow, Harry Kane. Yamal or Griezmann for captain? I'd probably go for Griezmann. Witsel and Edison to Lunin and Yamal? No. I think Edison's a better option than Lunin. More likely to go through. Better chance of a clean sheet in matchday 10. Keep Witsel or Zaire Emery? I would keep Witsel. Dioxan says Saliba, Marquinhos and Mbappe out for Lewandowski, Cancelo and Hummels. Yep, good transfers. I'm absolutely on board. Ignacio says, ¿Qué opinas, Dylan? Quitar a Haaland para meter a De Bruyne y meter a Barcola junto con Mbappe. No es una mala idea y me gusta De Bruyne mucho si empieza el partido, pero para mí es mejor mantener a Haaland y no comprar a De Bruyne porque ya, con Barcola, por ejemplo, no tengo mucha confianza que va a anotar un gol o registrar una asistencia, así que para mí es mejor mantener a Haaland. Andres Suarez says Lewandowski, Rodri, Hummels in, Emery, Vinicius, Saliba out. Thoughts? Still have 0.5 million in the bank. I do like the transfers, not going to lie. The only concern I'd have is selling Vinicius. The rest looks fantastic. I think they're good transfers. You're pretty well set to go there. Actually says Ake and Foden injury news. Ake is available. He will be in the squad. He was on the bench against Luton Town after all, but Phil Foden, yeah, he's going to start. You know, I have no concerns about Foden whatsoever. He's 100% going to play tomorrow. I'm convinced. Unless something happens like an illness or, you know, he picks up an injury, he's going to play tomorrow. It's as simple as that. Captain Mbappe or Rafinha? I still think Mbappe is more reliable, but I would take upon Rafinha, to be honest. You've always got Kane tomorrow or Bellingham, Foden. I think Kane and Foden are the best captaincy options tomorrow. Are Ter Stegen and Neuer good? Yes, but I do prefer either Kobel or Oblak instead of Ter Stegen. Aldo Victoria says, hey Dylan, Lewandowski and Rodri or Rafinha and Bernardo Silva? That is a great question. I'm probably going to go for Rafinha and Bernardo Silva, but we're talking about very fine margins. Wow. That is a really tough call. It's 50-50. I'm kind of going to go between both of them. You know what? I'm going to go for Lewandowski and Rodri, but it's literally like a coin toss. Guy says I have Foden, Lino, Saka, Martin, Zaire Emery. So yeah, who should I replace for Lino? I think Musiala's a good shout. Or Bernardo Silva, as I've mentioned a few times in the stream. Captain Kane or Lewandowski or Mbappe. I've covered this skin. Yeah, I'm not going to go for that again. Remember, you captain a Tuesday player first, then you can captain Kane tomorrow. It's as simple as that. No, Weising. I think Argentina and Man City are the best teams in the world, to be honest. Leverkusen are one of the best teams. You can't ignore it, but in my personal opinion, it's Argentina. And people can disagree with that. This is the way I see it. Will Guerrero start tomorrow? Yeah, I think so. Only have one goalkeeper right now. Is it worth a -4 for including Kobel? Don't take a -4 hit for a goalkeeper. Just stick with Kobel, and that's it. Ready for the big European Footy Day? Yes, and tomorrow is a big one indeed. Witsel or De Paul? Witsel. I covered that, Aldo. Mbappe or Lewandowski? Lewandowski for this match day. Samuel says, hola Dylan, Rodri por Bellingham or Musiala? Zacarias a Vinicius por Rafinha? Me gusta Rodri, pero es mejor mantener a Bellingham y Musiala. Zacarias a Vinicius por Rafinha. Solamente para tener una opción para el capitán en los partidos de martes, pero me gusta mucho a Vinicius Jr. Si es posible, para mí es mejor mantenerlo en tu equipo. Thoughts on Dyer? I think in terms of 4-point family and defenders and below, he's one of the best ones. Not much attacking threat, but you never know. He has scored against Arsenal in the past, and he's decent for ball recoveries. So yeah, it's fine. Rice to Rodri or Saliba to Gvardiol? Rice to Rodri seems better for me. Most nailed Man City defender? Yeah, Ruben Dias for me. I think so. Transfer out Haaland? No, I wouldn't transfer him out. I only did it last week because I thought he'd blank at the Bernabeu, which he did, but I think he's going to return this time round. Lamine, good option. I think he's decent. I really do. He doesn't have a good goals and assists record in the Champions League, but I think that will change eventually. Sula or Molina? For this match day, well, I say for this match day, let me just check the lineups again. Sula is on the bench. Yeah, just go for Molina. Just go for Molina. It's Hummels and Schlotterbeck as the two centre-backs with Ryerson and Maatsen as the full-backs. Sula's on the bench, so yeah, quite a simple one there. Jose G says, Havertz, Lino, Beraldo out for Rafinha, Sancho, Kubarsi. I like it. I like it a lot. Sometimes when you see nothing left in the bank, 0.0 million, you kind of think maybe it's a sign. But yeah, I do like the Rafinha and Kubarsi transfers, and even Sancho could be a decent punt. I don't mind it. Hey Dylan, Sabitzer or Brandt? I did go for Sabitzer as my predictor player of the match, but I'm probably going to go for Brandt there. I just prefer the attacking potential, playing as an attacking midfielder, just behind Füllkrug. Lewandowski plus Silva or Rafinha and KDB? Great question. I'm going to go for Lewandowski and Bernardo Silva, but we're talking about very fine margins here. Best defender for this week, in your opinion? I think Hummels. I think it's Hummels or Cancelo, the two highest scoring defenders in UCL Fantasy, and I'm going to go for Hummels. Welcome, Sav. 275 rank right now. Great stuff. I probably changed Carvajal and Dyer for Hummels and Cancelo, but my strikers are Mbappe, Griezmann and Havertz. Yeah, I change Havertz personally. I don't think he'll score or make a real impact in terms of goals or assists at Bayern Munich. You never know, but I just don't think he will. Yeah, I think he's the one to sell. If you can go to the likes of Rafinha, that'd be a perfect transfer. Which Dortmund mid under 6 million? I'm going to have to double check that. So bear with me for a second. So Dortmund mid. Let's see what we can conjure up. So yeah, we do have just over half an hour left. The stream has absolutely flown by the way. We've been streaming for almost an hour and a half already. So be sure to keep on liking the stream. Let's get this over 200. It costs nothing and goes a long way to supporting the channel. We did reach 23,000 subscribers today, so thank you to those that have already done so. And all the channel members, patrons, super chatters, big up to all of you because the content keeps on going because of your support. So in terms of Dortmund midfielders, I'd probably say Sabitzer. And he is the highest scoring one. I think he's got a bit more attacking potential compared to the others, and I'd say some player of the match potential as well. Not great, but I'd go for Sabitzer. Saka to De Bruyne. If you can do it for free, then I'd say yes. How much do you think current Palmer is worth, FPL or non-FPL? In FPL, I think he could easily be 9 to 10 million next season. And in fact, the way he's playing, you could easily price him at 10.5 million. I don't think many will complain there. I think he's going to be 10 million next season. As for non-FPL, it's only one season. I say only one season. At Man City, he showed a lot of promise. And of course, he scored in those 2 finals against Arsenal and Sevilla in the Community Shield and UEFA Super Cup. I'm probably going to say value £80 million easily right now. Are you still planning to take out Mbappe? At the moment, no. But I will lock in my team fairly soon. Hummels or Molina? Hummels for this match day. Eric Dyer, great option. Not a great option, but I think he's decent. Miguel C says Sabitzer, Lewandowski, or Rafinha, Yamal. I'm going to go for... Wait, I'm not sure what the question is in terms of like... Sabitzer, Lewandowski, or Rafinha, Yamal. Oh, okay, so duo question, sorry. Okay. I would go for Sabitzer and Lewandowski. I'm kind of conflicted about this one. I think I'm going to go for Rafinha and Yamal, but just about. Guerrero or Dyer? Guerrero. I have Kobel and Lunin. Is it too bad? Not really. I think Kobel's arguably the best goalkeeper in Matchday 10. If I could make unlimited transfers every single matchday, Kobel would be my team over Oblak. 23 cases, Gary. Good stuff. Hopefully you can keep on pushing. Choose between Lewandowski or Bernardo Silva. Lewandowski. Limitless chip team. There's a video out for that. I can cover it very quickly. So what I went for in that video, Neuer and Kobel. I think I'm going to stick with that. Defenders, I've gone for Cancelo, Hummels, Molina, Gvardiol, and I'd probably go for either Guerrero or maybe another Dortmund defender like Maatsen. Midfield, Bellingham, De Bruyne, Sane, Foden, Saka, and forward line, Lewandowski, Haaland, and Kane. There you go. Transfer out Mbappe or Vinicius. I do prefer Vinicius a little bit more on paper, but the reason why I'd probably hold Mbappe is the Tuesday captaincy factor. I think that's why. Got Griezmann for Haaland as he struggles in big games and versus Rudiger. Damn. If I had Haaland, I would have kept him for sure. But yeah, I don't have him right now. I'm kind of in two minds about it. ¿Crees que el Arsenal puede sacar al Bayern Múnich? Sí, pueden hacerlo, pero yo creo que Bayern Múnich son los favoritos ahora. Y en la última semana, Arsenal está medio flojo. Y en ese partido en contra Bayern Múnich, no sé, hubo muchos problemas con el equipo de Arsenal y no sé si van a avanzar. Para mí, Bayern Múnich son los favoritos y van a llegar a las semifinales. Ojalá que no tenga razón, pero no tengo mucha confianza en Arsenal en este momento. Is Dyer playing? Yep, he will play. What do you think about, was that Cunyaras? Or are you talking about Kubarsi? I'm not sure what you're on about. Will De Bruyne and Foden start? Foden definitely. De Bruyne is less certain, but I think he does. KDB did nothing versus Luton Town. You say that, but he was arguably the best player on the pitch. He created 7 chances. He had a great game in my opinion. He just didn't do anything FPL related in terms of goals or assists. I still think he's better than Bernardo Silva if he starts. KDB played 80 minutes against Luton and Man City. Said everyone trained today. Well, KDB isn't a safe pick. It's kind of like a punt. So on the Limitless, I would consider KDB for that attacking upside. But he's not safe, no. Guerrero nailed. Not long term, but for match day 10. The thing is, Tuchel did indicate that it could be Mazzari playing left back, and the 2 central midfielders could be Lima and Goretzka, like the first leg. So not really, not even for match day 10. Mbappe or Rafinha? I'm still going to go for Mbappe, I think, but not by much. No Bayern defenders, maybe. And if I were to make a move, maybe Guerrero or Dyer. Any attacker apart from the 3 you currently have? Yeah, Lewandowski is the one I'd go for. So, yeah. Time to lock in the transfers. Let's see what you guys are saying, by the way. So, Kubarsi, De Bruyne, and Rafinha is leading the vote by a landslide, 61%. I just think De Bruyne kind of humbles everything else out of the water. So, fair enough. It does mean selling Mbappe, though, which I'm not sure about whatsoever. So, yes, time to make some decisions. I have answered hundreds of questions at this point in the live stream. So I'm going to try and give a bit of thought to my team if possible. But before I do, just for those that wanted to see my predictions, I've gone for 1-1 Dortmund Atletico Madrid. I might change the player of the match. I've currently got on Sabitzer. I might go for a Julian Brandt or something like that. I've gone for 2-1 Barcelona and Lewandowski to be player of the match. 2-1 Bayern Munich with Harry Kane to be the star. And Man City 3, Real Madrid 2. Do not discount Real Madrid. I can't stress that enough. But Man City, another treble is on the cards. Hopefully not. But it looks like, well, they're on course for another one if no one can stop them. And I think Real Madrid is the biggest obstacle, just like last season. So, yeah, those are the predictions. I'm going to go back to my transfer plans. We've covered everything pretty much in terms of team news. We went through both lineups for both games and also some potential lineups for tomorrow as well, some predictions. So, yeah, quite interesting, isn't it? Quite interesting. Let's see. So in second place is Hummels, Koundé and Rodri. As expected, the Hummels and Cancelo transfers didn't go down too well. So that's very interesting indeed. I'm going to put another poll out actually very quickly, and it's going to be in relation to the likes of Eric Dyer, because I have no Bayern Munich defensive coverage, which could be a mistake. So let's see, which defender do you prefer? And I'm going to put probably Hummels. Yeah, I'm going to put Dyer. And let's see what else we have. Yeah, unfortunately with the poll, once you end it, you can't actually see the options again, which is a bit annoying. I probably forgot what I put. So, yeah, assuming I go for these transfers in the end, let's see. Kubarsi. Yeah, I'd say Kubarsi, Hummels. And for some reason I can't put... That is annoying. I'm going to have to do it again. That is a bit jarring. Okay. Just give me a second, lads. I do apologise. I have been speaking non-stop anyway for the last couple hours. Okay, end that poll. There we go. Yeah, the questions are still flying in. Thank you very much. We're 24 likes away from 200, so be sure to get this stream to 200 likes at the very least, and if possible, 300 would be massively appreciated. Yeah, I'm going to put this poll out now in terms of defenders. So which defender do you prefer? And we could put a captaincy one as well later if I have time. So Dyer, Kubarsi, Hummels. Let's see, I'll put that one for now. Hopefully no autocorrect. I've seen some really weird ones by YouTube, like musical instead of Musiala. Yeah, Odegaard is fine. He trained. I covered all those kind of bits of news earlier in the stream. Yeah, Odegaard should be good. No, you can't roll the transfer Paredes. And by the way, nice DP, nice name. Big up, Copa America winner, World Cup winner. Who's better for today, Mbappe or Lewandowski? Lewandowski. Kubarsi in for Beraldo. Not for a -4. I don't think it's worth it. Is Saliba a bad option? I don't think he's bad, but I think Bayern Munich score, and I'm looking at Saliba probably 2 or 3 points because of ball recoveries. I have Kobel and Matson, and who should I buy for Beraldo? Eric Dyer maybe, could be one, or Kubarsi. And the poll could help you with your final decision. ¿Qué piensas de Doku? Podría salir de titular. Jugó muy bien en contra Luton Town, pero para mí no va a empezar en contra Real Madrid. Yo creo que va a estar en el banco. I have Jude and Mbappe. I can sell one. Who to sell? I do prefer Mbappe a little bit more for this match day, but it's a very close call. No, you can't roll transfers. Zaire Emery, Sabitzer over Witsel. It's not a bad shout, Sabitzer. And Zaire Emery was really good in the group stages, but I think I just keep Witsel. Are Kimmich and Zaire Emery worth keeping? Possibly, but I do think if you can go to De Bruyne, Saka, Foden, Bellingham, these kind of midfielders, even Bernardo Silva, then yeah, I would sell them. Rafinha or Lewandowski? Lewandowski for me. Buying defenders who might start. Well, Dyer and De Ligt will certainly start, and then you're looking at Kimmich as the right back, and at left back, it's either Mazzauri or Guerrero, and the Sky Sports Germany predicted lineup had Guerrero there. Griezmann or Mbappe for captain? Mbappe. Hola, Lewandowski or Rafinha? Lewandowski. So that kind of we're getting a lot of the same questions. Lewandowski or Rafinha by a lot of different people. Lewandowski is my final answer. In the Limitless video, you recommended Neuer. Well, it's because on the Wednesday, I'm looking at all of the games, and I don't think any of them keep a clean sheet. It's between Neuer and Ederson for me. I'd back the home teams there to go through and also to keep a clean sheet if one was to be kept. And I'm going to go for Neuer. Go Mbappe, says Whatever. Fair enough. Hummels or Mbappe for captain? Definitely Mbappe. Much higher ceiling. I know Hummels can get you 5-6 points, and if he were to keep a clean sheet, you never know. He could get 8-9 points easily, but yeah, I'm going to go for Mbappe. Higher ceiling. Sell Haaland or Kane for Griezmann? None. Keep what you have. I think they're both better than Griezmann in Matchday 10. Best Emery replacement for 5.6 million? Probably Witsel, to be honest. Should I buy Maatsen to triple up on Dortmund defense? If you're confident of a clean sheet, then go for it. Is the team on screen? Well, this is my team with proposed transfers, which could have my final transfers. But to be honest, De Bruyne isn't locked in for me. I'm not entirely sure about him. You'd go for Vinicius over Mbappe. The thing is, I've said this before, I'd probably go for Mbappe simply because he's a Tuesday option, and if your entire midfield and forward line is full of Wednesday players, that could put you at put you at disadvantage. I can't even speak English. If it's a 1v1 battle, just who do you think scores more points? I'd probably go for Vinicius, to be honest. It's a really close call, though. Cancelo, Mbappe, or Yamal for captain? Mbappe. Maybe you should go for Zaire Emery and Mbappe to Lewandowski and Musiala or Bernardo Silva. Yeah, that's a good shout, to be fair. It's a decent shout, but I think I'm looking at selling Marquinhos still. But I'll consider that possibility. It's probably a good suggestion there. Let me just bring that up. So let's go over that again. So, yeah, sell Mbappe to Lewandowski, right? Interesting. I have big Lewandowski up quite a lot in this stream, so maybe it's about time I follow that. Maybe it is about time, but Mbappe is still a quality player. He really is. Musiala as well. Yeah, hasn't been great in UCL Fantasy this season, but tomorrow could be his night. So yeah, we'll do that. It also kind of balances things out a little bit, takes away some PSG players. They're quite likely to go out, in my opinion. So let's bring out Musiala or Bernardo Silva. Yeah, I think... for example, yeah, and then Marquinhos out, probably for either Ryerson or Kubarsi. Yeah, Ryerson I'm just short by. Yeah, just a little bit short. That's a great shout, though. I actually do like what you've suggested there. Lewandowski hasn't been great in the Champions League, though, this season, but like I mentioned, I do have a good feeling about him in the knockout stages, especially for Matchday 10. So instead of Marquinhos, we'll go for... Yeah, I could even go for Eric Dyer, actually, and kind of pile up on Bayern Munich, or instead I'll go for Bernardo Silva and cover Man City even further, which could be a risky kind of punt. Yeah, some big decisions to make, really, some big decisions, and it'll be interesting to see how it all pans out in the end. I've kind of switched from Musiala in the last couple of weeks. I've sold him, bought him, sold him, and he has blanked in the process. But yeah, that's another set of transfer plans, which is actually... something I haven't considered, really, so I appreciate that. I do. So we do have 23 minutes left. Be sure to lock in your teams and get things sorted. Thank you, Keith, for moderating the chat. Vinicius or Mbappe? I'm going to go for Vinicius, but no matter what you do, try to have a Tuesday captaincy option because it's really important. So a midfielder or forward from the Tuesday matches. Kunde and Witsel or Kubarsi and De Paul? Kunde and Witsel. Dyer or Maatsen? Maatsen for me. Musiala or Gnabry? I would go for... Well, Gnabry's out, so Musiala, Ignacio. Gnabry and Coman are out. It will be Musiala and Sane, with probably Muller behind Kane. I can't make transfers, says Dag Janios. That's not a good sign. I've seen some people complain about that. Let's see. Yeah, we're getting quite a lot of repeat questions here. Vinicius, Mbappe, Lewandowski, pick 2. I'm going to go for Lewandowski and Vinicius. Mantengo a Havertz o busco cambiar por Kane y Kubarsi o Rafinha plus Maatsen. Kane y Kubarsi, Emmanuel. Sí, para mí es la mejor opción para tu equipo. Lewandowski o Haaland? Lewandowski. Vinicius o Haaland? Haaland. Zaire Emery or Sabitzer? Zaire Emery. Musiala or Bernardo Silva? I'm currently leaning towards Bernardo Silva. Sane, Trossard, Zaire Emery, Witsel, Gundogan, Yamal or Bernardo Silva? Wait, so I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do here. Do I have to pick 5 from these? If that's the case, I would go for Bernardo Silva, Sane, Zaire Emery, either Gundogan or Yamal. I mean, yeah, I don't know what the question is, to be honest. Yeah. Yeah, I think you put 7 midfielders, and yeah, if I had to drop 2, it would be one of the Barcelona midfielders, either Gundogan or Yamal, and I'd probably drop Trossard. Top 3 defenders this match day. Hummels, Cancelo, and probably Guerrero if he starts. Rafinha or Yamal as captain? Rafinha. Let's see what else. Don't you think Dyer will be benched for Kim Min-jae? Right now, Dyer and De Ligt is the main partnership, so I'd be very surprised if Dyer was dropped. Hakimi, good option? Yeah, he's decent. He's not a great option, but I think he's decent. Sane or Silva? I think Sane. Lewandowski or Haaland? Lewandowski. Kubarsi in for Braldo, out for -4. As I said earlier in your question, no. Yeah, by the way, just to let you know, some questions I have answered, I've even highlighted them. I'm not going to go through them again, so yeah, I'm going to go for some different questions. Yamal for Emery, if you can afford it for free, yes. Capitán para cada día. Lewandowski o Rafinha para hoy y mañana Harry Kane. Pedri o Yamal? Yamal. Lewandowski or Mbappe captain? Lewandowski. Azpilicueta or Kubarsi in for Beraldo? I already have Koundé. I'd probably still go for Kubarsi. Use the website instead of app if you can't transfer. Yeah, exactly that. The app might be bugging out, but use the website, which rarely fails. Okay, then to avoid the -4, Rafinha in, Kane in. So instead of Royce and Emery out for Sabitzer and Bernardo Silva in. So do you prefer Bernardo Silva over Sabitzer? So Royce for Bernardo Silva and keep Emery? Thank you so much. I do prefer Bernardo Silva for Sabitzer, but Rafinha in, Kane in. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly. I'm not going to lie. I kind of lost you towards the end, Domenico, but I do like Bernardo Silva over Sabitzer. And if you can also get Rafinha and Kane for free, I think your transfers look really good. Well, Lewandowski has been good in the Champions League recently, and ever since Xavi announced he's leaving at the end of the season, Lewandowski's been on a very good run. I also back Barcelona to go through. I think PSG will be eliminated, and the home advantage is a big thing, in my opinion. But selling Mbappe, of course, I do recognise it is a risk. Harry Kane is definitely going to be kept. That's one of the non-issues in my team. 100% Kane is being kept. I'm going to captain him tomorrow if I need to. So yeah. Sujataya says Lewandowski, Musiala, Kubarsi or Mbappe, Kimmich, Hernandez. I'm going to go for Lewandowski, Musiala and Kubarsi. The differential pick for Limitless. Dare I say De Bruyne? Is he a differential at this point? I'm not even sure. Then I have to double check that. De Bruyne. Well, his ownership is 13%. I think at this stage of the competition, that's a relative differential. So yeah, I'd say De Bruyne or Bernardo Silva would be right up there. I also think Rafinha for today. Emery, White, Saliba out, Bernardo Silva, Kubarsi, Aspien. Yeah, that's fine. Not a massive fan of Azpilicueta, but I do like Bernardo Silva and Kubarsi. I think Akanji starts tomorrow, but it's between him and Walker for that final defender slot. Buying defender, I'd say Guerrero or Dyer. Saliba or Hummels? Already have Matson. Hummels. Wilson Pedri, great prospect, but in UCL Fantasy, not really ideal. No, De Bruyne isn't out, but he isn't nailed on to start. Why is PSG being so underrated? Well, they lost 3-2 at home. Barcelona are in better form in general. I know PSG, well, they were unbeaten from November up until last week against Barcelona, but I don't know. PSG in the Champions League, they just don't have the history. It's a really big factor in my opinion, and they've never won or they never progressed to the next round after losing the first leg. That's a really big thing. Dyer or Molina or Hummels? Hummels. Dyer or Guerrero? Guerrero if he starts, which isn't guaranteed. Bit late to the party, almost forgot. Good to see you, Twisted Parky. Kubarsi or Molina? Molina. Saliba or Hernandez? Saliba. Best replacement for Marquinhos, 5.6 million. Hummels, if you can afford it. Well, I say if you can afford it. If you don't have him already, should I say? Rank, Emery, Kimmich, Witsel. I I do like Emery in general, but right now I'd say Witsel first, Emery second, Kimmich third. Which one? Fulkrug, Griezmann, Rafinha, Vinicius, or Mbappe? I don't know how. What do I pick? 3 from those? My favourites would be Mbappe, Rafinha, and Vinicius. That's for sure. Rafinha or Lewandowski captain? Lewandowski. Yamal or Pedri? Yamal. Sell Havertz for Kane? 100%. I wouldn't even question it. Can't see Dyer working out at all. That's fair enough. PSG got cooked last week. Yeah, they did. They made a great comeback in the second half. They scored 2 goals in 2 minutes, but after that they crumbled. Best centre mid without Bellingham, Saka, Foden, Zaire Emery. I have 9.3 million. It's either Sane, Musiala, or Bernardo Silva, and I'd probably opt for Sane. You have a lot of players playing on Wednesday, to be honest. Might struggle making substitutions. Well, my transfers aren't locked in. It's not that bad, though. I think I've got 7 players today, as things stand, and 8 tomorrow. That's pretty decent balance overall. But I am looking at bringing in 1 or 2 Barcelona players, for example. So, yeah, that's just a set of transfer plans. It's not locked in. Yeah, so if I were to go for this structure, for example, I'd be bringing in Rafinha and Kubarsi and also De Bruyne. Yeah, so I would be, what, 6 and 9, I think? So I'd have Oblak, Kubarsi, Maatsen, Molina, and just Rafinha, actually. I think that'd just be 5. And Witsel 6. Yeah, 6 and 9. Yeah, I think ideally you'd have at least 7 playing on the Tuesday and 8 tomorrow. Yeah, I mean, that's something worth thinking about, to be fair. But yeah, it's now time to lock in the transfers and the final teams. We've got less than 50 minutes left. I want to probably get this over with because I've gone through hundreds of questions, a lot of repeats, and it's about time I get my team done. So, as much as De Bruyne is tempting me, I'm just not too sure about this. I really am not. I could go for Yamal in for Zaire Emery. That's something I could do. Keep Mbappe. Go for, let's say, Yamal. And I can make another transfer here, like Saliba to, let's say, Hummels. I think Hummels could be a decent one. Then if we look at the balance, it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 players today, 7 tomorrow, which doesn't seem too shabby. But then if you think about possibilities, you know, if certain teams get knocked out, I'm going to be down. I'm not going to have 15 players available for Matchday 10. That's the problem as well. That's why if you still have for Matchday 11. So if you do have the wildcard Limitless in your back pocket, it could be very useful, in fact, for Matchday 11, particularly the wildcard, in fact. But yeah, that's another set of transfers. Let me know what you think in the live chat. Say yes or no if you like what you see on screen. In terms of the poll I put out, I think Hummels was leading as the best. No, it's now Kubarsi, but it's very close between him and Hummels. Dyer is last with 19%. Is Bellingham even worth to keep? I think so. Best midfielder this match day? Foden. Foden's the best one for me. People are saying no. Fair enough. Okay, that's quite resounding. While selling Mbappe is brave in my opinion. I do like Rafinha though. Yeah, of course. I mean, selling Haaland was also, you know, I'd say brave last week. A lot of people were saying, what are you doing? Sometimes you have to back your gut, but I would like Haaland now. That's the problem I'm finding myself in. Hummels or Maatsen? Hummels. Captain Hummels or Mbappe? I'd captain Mbappe. Gundogan to whom? Budget 9 million. I'd probably say, if you don't have Foden already, what are you waiting for? And apart from Foden, I think one of Musiala or Bernardo Silva. Pedri, Gundogan, or Yamal. Lewandowski or Rafinha. Lewandowski. Swap Haaland for Kane or Griezmann with a -4 hit. Don't do that. Just keep what you have. I wonder what number 1 in the world will do. Has a solid team before transfers. Yeah, wish I could say the same. Lewandowski and Sane or Rafinha and KDB if chasing. I think both duos are good, but I'd probably go for Lewandowski and Sane. Who do you prefer this game week, Haaland or Mbappe? Haaland. Best match day for today? Not sure what you mean there. Best match day for today? Or best players for today? I'd say one of Rafinha or Lewandowski up front. In the midfield, I'd say Yamal. In defense, I would be looking at Hummels and goalkeeper Kobel. Will Akanji start tomorrow? I think so, but I can't guarantee it. What do you think of Cancelo, Molina, Kimmich out for Kubarsi, Aspilicueta, KDB? All solid transfers, but KDB could be benched. That is a possibility. I think he will start. Of course, Bellingham will play, 100%. Best mid for 6.4 million? Probably Zaire Emery or Witsel. Captain Rafinha or Mbappe? I'd go for Mbappe still. Mbappe or Rafinha or Lewandowski? Lewandowski. Glad I kept Zaire Emery. Starts today, thankfully. Yeah, but I'm looking at possibly changing him. I think PSG will get knocked out, and I'm not so sure about him, but maybe it's a mistake. Best captain today, except for Mbappe, Lewandowski or Rafinha. Sabitzer or Witsel? Sabitzer's not a bad shout, but I'd go for Witsel. Griezmann or Mbappe? Mbappe. If there is any team that can bottle first leg, it's Barca. Maybe, but PSG aren't exactly the most reliable of teams either. Vinicius or Haaland? Haaland. Should I do this? Vinicius, Lino, Marquinhos out, Dyer, Silva, Lewandowski in. I see why you're doing it. I'd say yes, but I still like Vinicius. Mbappe or Haaland? Haaland. Sane, Rafinha, Kubarsi, good transfers. I think we covered this before, Wei-Sing, in the last stream for Matchday 9. The reason why that's the case is because they're in the same bracket. So whoever wins between Man City, Real Madrid, and either Bayern or Arsenal will face each other in the semi-finals. That's why they play on the same day. It's not ideal, but it's the way the Champions League is. Thank you, Alexander. Gracias siempre por tu ayuda, crack. Suerte. Igualmente. Gracias. Do you think Zaire Emery will do well? Not really. That's why I'm looking at selling him, to be honest. Why Lewandowski over Rafinha? It's just I think Lewandowski has a much better pedigree in the Champions League. He's in good form since Xavi announced his leaving at the end of the season. Look, Rafinha's a great pun. I don't mind it at all. I think it's quite close. Evening, Dylan. Been a long time. Who to captain tonight? Either Lewandowski, Rafinha, or Mbappe. One of those three, depending on your prediction. Captain Griezmann or Mbappe? Mbappe. Haaland or Mbappe? Haaland. Thank you, Elliot. I do love the Hummels pick. Yeah, same here. I want to get him in, to be honest. I really do. So it's about time to bring him in, or time to make transfers. So close. There's so many tough calls to make this week. I think what I'm going to end up doing is keep Zaire Emery, and if I were to make another move, it's kind of a close one. I mean, so many of these are 50-50. They can go either way. But yeah, with this setup, buying Kubarsi and Hummels, and look, I could even just buy Cancelo, which I mentioned in the poll. It wasn't that popular in the poll, but that could also work out quite nicely, buying Cancelo instead of Kubarsi. Just trying to think what the other transfer would be. Saka to De Bruyne as an option. I could still sell Zaire Emery or Witsel. Could I do... Yeah, I could do Witsel out to, not Bernardo Silva or Musiala, but I could make a transfer there, maybe to Musiala. Sorry, to Musiala, to Yamal. Mbappe out. Just not too sure about it. I really am not. I do back Lewandowski in this match day, but I don't think it's really worth selling any of my forwards. You know what? It might seem stupid, but I think this is what I'm going to end up doing. Buying maybe Cancelo instead of Kubarsi. I think I've got it here in one of the other screens. Yeah, this is the one where I've got it in. Yeah, I know some people here will be like, what are you doing? What are you doing, Dylan? But honestly, it's such fine margins on the midfielders and forwards. Already have Oblak, just keep Lunin, or sell for Neuer. Yeah, if you can do it for free, which I'm assuming you can, then that's fine. And to be honest, that's what I could end up doing myself. Yeah, I think it's a better chance of a clean sheet. Lunin's been great in the Champions League, but no, not my final team yet. And once I actually decide, I will lock it in. But don't just copy if you are looking to do that. It's just the worst thing to do. Sabitzer's on pens, mate. True. He's a decent choice. I was asked about the best Dortmund midfielder at a cheap price, and I did recommend Sabitzer. He's also my pick for player of the match for Borussia Dortmund. Witsel out for Sane. Yeah, if you can stretch him, yeah. Hummels or Dyer? Definitely Hummels, 100%. I really like Hummels, even if Dortmund were to be knocked out. He's just a ball recovery machine. So, yeah, just 7 minutes left. I'm going to make transfers, otherwise I'll run out of time. Be sure to like the video if you haven't already. Let's get this stream to over 300 likes. That'd be massively appreciated. I'm not going to lie, a lot of these transfers are really 50-50, and I don't really... Yes, very tough to call. But the defenders I'm quite confident with, I'm not going to lie. So buying either Cancelo, Kubarsi or Koundé, as well as Hummels, I'm perfectly happy with that. It's the forward line of midfielders that I'm very torn about, and it's kind of reflected in the questions posted today by the viewers. So yeah, I could even end up doing Kubarsi instead of Cancelo and upgrade Lunin to Neuer. That's something else I could do. Maybe not ideal. It's kind of all defensive transfers. Maybe a lack of upside, but that is something I could do. Maybe too much money spent on the goalkeepers as well, you could argue. But yeah, I think what I'm going to end up doing is a bit sort of Yamal. I don't know. I really don't know. It's kind of, I'm really in two minds about the transfers. I was more confident, in fact, when I made the team selection video and podcast yesterday than I am now. Thank you, by the way, Weiseng, for moderating the chat. Don't spam the chat like that, otherwise your question just won't be answered, and I've already covered quite a lot today, mate. I have Hummels already. Maatsen to Dyer. Keep Maatsen. Honestly, I personally would keep Maatsen. Best Bayern Munich defender. Guerrero if he starts. It's risky, but I think if he starts, he's a good option. Captain Mbappe or Lewandowski. I'd go for Lewandowski. Why? Home advantage. I think Barcelona are more likely to go through. And I'd also back Barcelona to win this game. So, yeah, Lewandowski. Sell Vinicius for Griezmann? No. Vissel won't be so good because he is defensive. Yeah, but he does get 4 or 5 points from ball recoveries alone. That's why I got him. Thank you, Demantis, as always, a long-time viewer of the channel. Yeah, okay, it's about time I'm going to make this team. Maatsen or Ryerson? Maatsen. Not much in it. Twisted Parky, any suggestions? Your team is in good shape. I think I'd probably get rid of Saliba if possible and go to Hummels. I think that's a good transfer for you. Apart from that, it's kind of nitpicking, really. Maybe Yamal in for Zaire Emery or Witsel. Stuff like that. You could even go for Lewandowski or, yeah, maybe a forward from the Tuesday matches. But selling one of Vinicius, Kane or Haaland is very difficult. But if you want a good Tuesday captain, maybe you could do Zaire Emery to Yamal or Vinicius to Lewandowski / Rafinha / Mbappe. And I'd definitely do Saliba to Hummels there, if you can. And actually Hernandez, you've got Hernandez too. So yeah, Saliba to Hummels and maybe Hernandez to you've already got Cancelo, maybe to for one. Looking at maybe an Eric Dyer or Guerrero. There's quite a lot you could do there, but your team is in good shape. It's kind of nitpicking. Is Zaire Emery to Yamal good? I think so, but Zaire Emery has been far better in the Champions League this season in terms of goals and assists. He averages 5.5 points per match day, whilst Yamal averages 2.2. Big difference there. A really big difference. But yeah, it's about time to make transfers. Yeah. Enough fluffing around. I think I'm going to do this. In fact, yeah. I'm not going to lie. I'm literally, it's the final transfer. A lot of you are probably experiencing the exact same thing I am. Just kind of at a loss about making the final transfer. But yeah, I think I'm going to do this. It does put me in an awkward position for future match days, but it might be the best for this match day coming up. I think that's the way I'm looking at it. Yeah. Difficult questions, difficult, yeah, quite a difficult thing to decide on. It really is. I'm kind of lost for words at the moment. But yeah, you know what? I think I'm going to back my gut here. I'm going to keep my midfield as it is. I'm going to keep my forwards as well, I think. Yeah, it's such a tough call, man. It's such a tough call. But yeah, we've literally got less than 3 minutes left. Be sure to lock in your transfers and get everything sorted. I know a lot of you did recommend going for De Bruyne, but I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure about that. All right, so yeah, it's about time to make these transfers, and I think I'm going to go ahead with this. Joao Cancelo's only blanked once this season at home. He's returned in every other game at, well, not even the Camp Nou, wherever they play nowadays. So Cancelo and Hummels in does seem quite reasonable. 2 Borussia Dortmund defenders. Wow, I mean, what am I doing, you could argue? What am I doing? That's a great question. I wish I knew what I was doing as well. Yeah. Cancelo, Kubarsi. I think I'm going to play the percentages as well. This is the thing, I'm literally in two minds about this. I think Cancelo and Hummels are the best for this match day specifically, but also taking in mind match day 11 and 12, I think Neuer in for Lunin could be a good shout and Kubarsi in instead of Joao Cancelo. But you know what? I think I'm just going to stick with this. I'm not going to make any more transfers and dithering and dilly-dallying like I've been doing here. I do have 5 free transfers to sort things out for the semi-finals. I'm not even using all 3 of my transfers, which does seem crazy. I know some of you are probably in massive disagreement, but yeah. I'm going to burn the 3rd transfer. I think I am as well. I'm quite happy with what I have. So yeah, literally 1 minute left. I'm going to do this. Joao Cancelo and Hummels in. I think my defense is the worst part of my team. This could be a big mistake. I do realize that. But yeah, it's literally just such a tough call. It really is. Yeah, you know what? Let's go back. Let's go back. Zaire Emery. This is the big call. And literally we've got 40 seconds left. He's had some big away performances this season. Look at that 11 points against Dortmund. You know what? I think I'm just going to stick with this. Get Cancelo and Hummels. Let's just get this done. Let's bring on Hummels, otherwise I'm going to cry. So let's sub him in, sub him in. Then we'll take out Vinicius Jr. And there we go. Bob's your uncle. I've bought in Hummels and Cancelo, and that's about it. I've burned the third transfer, and we've got 20 seconds left. Mbappe's my final captain. Yeah, I'm quite happy with that. And as you can see, I've got 4 defenders, 2 midfielders, 1 forward, and a goalkeeper playing today. So yeah, 8 players today, 7 tomorrow. Good balance. Mbappe's my captain. Tomorrow, most likely Kane will become my captain if Mbappe doesn't deliver. I'm quite happy with that, to be honest. I mean, it's a good team overall. Let's see how it pans out. But I do fear there will be some issues for Matchday 11. I'm not going to lie. I think some problems will arise. If we put it into perspective, if Borussia Dortmund get knocked out, I've got 2 of their defenders. Already, Real Madrid are also likely to go out at the moment. So Bellingham and Vinicius Jr., that's 4. Mbappe and Zaire Emery, that's 6. Saka as well, that's 7. So yeah, ultimately, I won't have a 50-man squad for Matchday 11, but I should easily be able to build a good 11 for the first leg of the semi-finals. Hits could even be necessary, but there you go. That is my final team. Let me know what you think in the live chat. I know some of you might disagree, but that's what football and UCL Fantasy is about. And I have covered a lot of questions in the live chat already. A lot of you were telling me to hurry up. Fair enough. Don't worry, it's all done. Griezmann por Mbappe, not bad at me. Not bad at me. De Bruyne starts tomorrow, says Christian. Let me know where you got that from, if it's a source or something like that. I think he will start, but I can't guarantee it. Gonna do Cancelo captain over Rafinha. Good luck, Twisted Parky. I hope you do really well. All in on Dortmund. So before match day 9, I said I think Atletico Madrid keep a clean sheet. Well, they have the best chance of a clean sheet in match day 9, and I think they'll go through. But that late goal for Dortmund, I think, has changed things. And looking at match day 10 only, I think Dortmund have the best chance of a clean sheet. So that's why I've gone for Hummels, and he's just really good for ball recovery. So even if Dortmund concede, I think he can get 4 to 5 points very easily. That's why I've got him. Thank you, Gilberto. I appreciate that. Yamal or Kimmich? Yamal. Get Molina or Cancelo? Cancelo. A lot of you were panicking, it seems, more than I did, even though it wasn't my most composed self. Hurry up, Dylan. Fair enough. I don't have no defense for tomorrow, and one of my defenders are on the bench. Well, that's the good thing about it, right? I mean, you can look at it both ways. If all 4 defenders blank, well, you're going to have at least 2 defenders who blank by the end of the match day confirmed. So you're going to have to hope for the best there. No changes to my team, says Elliot. Kobel, Lunin, Cancelo, Molina, Saliba, Rice, and Kubarsi, Saka, Foden, Bellingham, Kimmich, Zaire Emery, Mbappe, Kane, Haaland. Good stuff. And yeah, maybe I'm a bit too harsh on Marquinhos and Saliba. They're still good for ball recoveries. But yeah, I think Cancelo and Hummels are upgrades, and I'm quite happy with my team overall. Got 6 today and 9 tomorrow. Yeah, look, a lot is made about that balance. I think that is a bit overrated. Ideally, you'd have 8 and 7 or 7 and 8, but it's not the worst thing in the world. Yeah, Rafinha captain is fine. Like I mentioned all stream, if you've got either Rafinha, Lewandowski, or Mbappe, I'd captain one of them. My personal favourite is Lewandowski. Have you ever went to Bernabeu Camp Nou? No. And it seems so stupid because I once went to Barcelona and the hotel was literally like 5 minutes away from the Barcelona stadium, and I never had time to go there, which sounds absolutely ridiculous, but it is what it is. Thanks for the deadline stream, Dylan. Good luck. Thank you, Fakri. Likewise to you. I hope going Lewandowski or Rafinha doesn't backfire. Well, Rafinha is in great form, especially in the Champions League. He's also averaging more points per match day than Lewandowski, but I honestly think Lewandowski is a good option this week. Thank you, Mario. Good luck to you as well. Number 2 in the world has triple Atletico and absolutely no Barca, PSG or Dortmund players. Well, it's all about, you know, making that gamble, you know, going for it, being aggressive. And at number 2, it's all about going for number 1, you'd argue. But yeah, one wrong call could easily see you tumble down, especially at that rank. I captain Cancelo, bought Hummels in for Saliba, and also Rafinha for Vinicius Jr. I like that. I also did the Hummels transfer. Rafinha for Vinicius is interesting. Yeah, since I had Mbappe already, I didn't do such a transfer. But I do like that. Good luck to you as well, Gilberto Rengifo. Thank you very much. Rafinha, yeah. Went for a different captain, Sabitzer. I wish you the best, Domenico. Hopefully it pays off. Did not have time to consider another transfer. Yeah, I think I probably left it too late. Didn't have enough time to think about it. I mean, look, before the stream, I had a decent idea of what I wanted to do, but the more I thought about it, I was quite happy with what I had, really. I wish I could roll this transfer over and have 6 free transfers next week, but you can't do that, unfortunately. Good luck as well, Mora. See you very soon. Sold Lunin after I accidentally bought Raya last second last week, if you remember, Dylan. Yes, I remember that. I remember that. In the end, both of them were quite poor. Thank you, A10. All the best to you as well. Cheers, JIBX. I have no Barcelona attacker. Neither do I. But at least I've got Cancelo. See you, Weiseng, on the weekend. Currently ranked 275. My highest was rank 45. Red arrows galore. But that's still a great rank to be at. So I wish you the best, El Padrino, to finish top 100. And who knows, maybe even higher. Nucleatum says, I went with Sommer, Odegaard, Vinicius out for Kobel, KDB and Rafinha. Took some risk. I like the high ceiling of KDB, and Barcelona's goals come from the wings more often, so I captain Rafinha. Yeah, I think one regret I could have is keeping the 2 PSG players and not going for any Barcelona attackers. I think that could be a mistake on my part. Thank you, Nucleams. Cheers for the streams. Before the stream, I didn't know what transfers to make. I'm glad to hear it. I mean... If anything, this stream caused me to be more confused about my transfers, but at least I had the opposite effect on someone. I went to the camp now, crap on the outside, but nice on the inside. Yeah, they are renovating it for a reason, aren't they? Good luck, Dylan. What do you think of Goretzka as a differential? He was quite good. I think in the first leg, he was probably top 3 players on the pitch. I'd argue he was Bayern's best midfielder, and in UCL Fantasy terms, he got 5-6 points. Okay, I actually didn't realise that. On screen, it didn't fully crop it. Yeah, this is my final team. So Oblak in goal, Cancelo, Molina, Hummels, and Maatsen as the back 4. Zer, Emery, Witsel, Bellingham, Foden, with Mbappe captain and Kane up front. Lunin, Ruben Dias, Vinicius, and Saka are on my bench. Mbappe's my captain for now, and if it doesn't go according to plan, then Kane will become my new captain. Thanks, Dylan, and good luck this game week. Take care. Likewise to you. Thank you, Cylinder, as well. And El Padrino, who is doing really well in UCL Fantasy this season. My only issue with Rafinha as captain was that he is sometimes inconsistent. Yeah, agreed. He has turned up in the big games for Barcelona, though, as you saw against PSG and also against Napoli. And I think another game is Atletico Madrid in that 3-0 win away from home. I left too late. I forgot I would have rolled if I could without getting a coffee. Fair enough. I think I went to Camp Nou in 2008. I went in 2019. And I think literally a few days later, Barcelona played a friendly against Arsenal, which ended 2-2. I think Aubameyang scored in that game for Arsenal. Awesome stream as always, mate. Take care. Cheers. Thank you, Dave. Likewise. Sabitzer and Morata love my arse off. I'm not sure what happened, by the way, because I'm not watching the game currently. Let me know what happened. Captain Hummels. Yeah, I mean, Hummels is kind of guaranteed to give you something. That's why he's not a bad captaincy shout, but Mbappe has the far higher ceiling. And I ultimately just don't captain defenders, really, in general. The chances missed already. Oh, fair enough. Morata does what he always does. Yeah, not a good sign for those that went for 2 Dortmund defenders or triple up. But yeah, hopefully Dortmund can keep a clean sheet. Just because I didn't want to burn a transfer, made White, Saliba, Hernandez out to Cancelo, Aspi, Gvardiol in. Yeah, that's something else, actually, I probably could have done. Diaz to Gvardiol. In fact, I probably should have done it, but it is what it is. Morata got on one-on-one. I mean, he gets into the positions, but his finishing is poor. FPL weekend sucked. We dropped more points. City going to win the league now. And also Salah captain backfired. Yeah, very poor. Yeah, Salah captain. I mean, Palmer, I mean, what can I say? Those 4 goals was very surprising. I thought he'd do well against Everton, but for him to outscore Haaland and Salah combined is crazy. Even if he captained Haaland and you also add Salah's points, he outscored both of them combined. It's absolutely ridiculous. Brighton, that is. Yeah, of course. Twisted Park. Yeah, I know. And yeah, with Arsenal, I mean, what can I say? I think the main concern was the performance in the second half. And that also adds more concerns about the game against Bayern. Sabitzer shouldn't have tried to control it. He should have touched it in. Yeah, and he was my tip for player of the match. And if we go now to my predictions, which I didn't change, I don't think I needed to. By the way, this is the predicted league. Shout out to those in the top 10. Aviv, Cherianeta, you've got Sebupez, Super Saud, Manchester United, Madrid, Auge. Good to see Man United in the top 5 or something, by the way. Pavlikeni, Athletic, Ronaldo, the GOAT, definitely not. Invincibles FC, Man United 11. A lot of United fans doing well in the UCL Fantasy League. But yeah, this is my predictor. I went for 1-1 Dortmund, Atletico Madrid, 2-1 Barcelona. I went for Lewandowski and Sabitzer as player of the match, with Dortmund and Barcelona to score first. Bayern Munich 2-1, with Kane to be the star of the show. And Man City 3-2. With Bernardo Silva to be my tip for player of the match. So let's see how it all goes. I'm going to go and watch both games now, actually. But yeah, just for those that aren't aware, those are my final players. I made 2 transfers in the end, only 2. I bought Cancelo and Hummels. Let's see how that pans out. I captain Lewandowski. If his points will be 5, 6 or 7, should I switch? If he scores 7 points, I wouldn't switch, I think. Yeah, I think I'd keep it at this stage. Advice on Palmer should be more bold from now on. Yeah, and for those that captain Foden and vice captain Palmer, I can't describe the levels of luck of that, but FPL and UCL Fantasy are sometimes like that. That's a lot of jam, but fair play. Forgot predictor again. I also forgot it, to be honest. I was really focused on my transfers. But yeah. Number 2 in the world went Pedri captain. I mean, look, he's number 2 in the world. He's doing far better than I am, but not sure about that one, Chief. The league is getting a bit boring. Need fair play to stay and treat all teams the same. I completely agree, but the title race was looking really good. And Man City could drop points in certain games, but I just think they're not going to lose a game. Maximum they drop points in 1 or 2 matches, but I don't see Arsenal or Liverpool winning every single game remaining to capitalise. So, yeah. Stefan says, is it not a Premier League stream, but I need to say that I got 102 points with Palmer captain. Really happy. Fair play. I mean, 26 points as a captaincy haul. I can't remember the last time I got something like that. Courage as well says a captain Palmer. Fair play. Yeah, those that captain Palmer, I have to say big up. But those that captain Foden and vice Palmer, very lucky. But you know what? Enjoy the points. And what more can I say? You think Chelsea advance in the FA Cup? No, I think City do. I think City, Man United final. Man City win it. Man City win the Premier League. And if they beat Real Madrid, they probably win the Champions League as well. So hopefully not. Dave says, Liverpool and Arsenal just gave City the league. Yeah, I think so as well. But hopefully City slip up and Arsenal capitalise. I'm not so sure if that'll be the case, though. But we live in hope, don't we, in the Premier League and, of course, in football. That is why we're here, isn't it? But thank you very much to those that supported the stream. We did reach 23,000 subscribers. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Smash the like button and also check out all the links in the description below for the Twitter and Instagram, DylanRCM. Also join as a channel member or patron, and be sure to join the, well, check out Draft Hound. That is another link I've got in the description. And Spotify and Amazon Music, all my videos and live streams are available in podcast format. Be sure to leave a 5-star review as well. It goes a long way to supporting the channel. And yeah, we've been streaming for 2 hours and 50 minutes almost. Twisted Parky says at 50k now. Good stuff. 3 of top 5 in the world went Lewandowski captain. Yeah, I don't really blame them for that. Good luck as well, Ankel. Thank you, Dave. Cheers to you and everyone else. Avoid hits unless there is a need. Avoid crap teams. Take more risks. Go with gut next season. When I did this to week 21, ranked 15k when I stopped about 250. Yeah, in UCL Fantasy, I'd recommend not taking hits, but in FPL, I think hits could still pay off, especially with all the double game weeks and the fixture swings and all of that. 38 game weeks in a season. I think hits are more viable in that format as opposed to UCL Fantasy, but keep your eyes peeled. The plan is to do a free hit video and podcast tomorrow. Also, a best wildcard team, and of course, the team selection, the deadline stream for FPL, all of that is coming up. And of course, for Matchday 11, 12, and 13 in UCL Fantasy, everything you need to know will be out on this channel. So I'll see you very soon for more content for both fantasy formats. Enjoy the football today and tomorrow. Hopefully we get some cracking football, and I'll see you next time.